Part 1. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 1. Lin Feng is an online writer. It was past midnight, and he was still sitting in a rented partition room writing a novel. He wrote a novel about urban life. He drank jasmine tea and smoked Hungta Mountain. His inspiration exploded. His typing speed was very fast, and the green axis mechanical keyboard made a crisp sound, which might have affected the neighbors, but nothing. The neighbors have always affected him. If he now that I walk out of the partition room, I can hear gasps and women's oh from different rooms. Hearing the knock on the door, Lin Feng guessed that it must be the beautiful neighbor who came to him to borrow cigarettes again. Borrowing cigarettes is often a matter of borrowing and not returning it. In less than 3 months, the beautiful neighbor has already taken from him. I borrowed more than 10 packs of cigarettes, either from Hungta Mountain or Ziyun. Every time I said, "Lin Feng, you are so arrogant, I will pay you back when I look back." At the beginning, Lin Feng also thought that the beautiful neighbor's voice was very sweet, which could stimulate his inspiration. Later, he got a little bored. "You can't be more aggressive, don't say that you are still smoking, Lao Tzu. Occasionally go to your room and you don't smoke." Lin Feng opened the door and saw Bai Shan with a beautiful face, slender and graceful figure, wearing a light purple night dress, and said with a smile, "I'm so sorry, I only have half a pack of cigarettes left." "How do you know I'm here to borrow cigarettes?" "It seems that I have left a psychological shadow on you." Bai Shan showed a bright smile, bypassing Lin Feng's body and entering the partition room with an area of less than 10 square meters. I took a chair and sat next to the computer desk. Lin Feng felt that Bai Shan might want to accompany him to smoke, and waited until he had finished smoking the remaining half-pack of cigarettes before leaving. Although Bai Shan was stingy, she was a beautiful woman and a neighbor after all. Lin Feng could not scold her easily, nor could she easily drive her away. "Go out, and everyone should save face." Lin Feng sat on the chair and said with a smile, "Since you're here, hurry up and smoke, or I'll finish smoking in a while." Bai Shan didn't mean to smoke, but stared at the computer screen obsessively. The document was not closed. Bai Shan was reading the novel written by Lin Feng, and after a while, she said, "You guys are quite good at writing, can you get money for writing this?" "Some people can make a lot of money, but I'm still lingering on the line of food and clothing. Wouldn't it be okay for you to find me?" "It's nothing to do." A young couple who lived diagonally across the door were doing that. "It was quite noisy, so I came to you. This girl Bai Shan looks very charming. Sometimes her eyes are easy to misunderstand. It is not strange for her to say such words, but the key problem is that the relationship between each other was established by smoking, not very deep. If you don't want that kind of sound, you can put on headphones to listen to the song. If you really want to hear it, listen with your heart and then fantasize." Lin Feng's words are very provocative, but Bai Shan is not angry at all, her smile is even a little charming. "It seems that you often fantasize. According to my observation, you should not have a girlfriend now, you have not even found a miss. I can also hear your voice from my room, and you haven't made any other strange noises except for the occasional sing-along sentence. I sometimes fantasize about writing about us, and sometimes I have to fantasize about it, but I usually fantasize about plots. I had a girlfriend when I was in college, and she was divided when I was a senior. She said that the two have different personalities, and later got on with a rich boy. You are so beautiful, you are almost at the level of school beauty, you must have had many boyfriends, right? I've been in love, but it didn't work out. When I went to the society, I became a person. I quit my job 2 weeks ago. I'm an undergraduate majoring in finance. Get up, enough is enough. If you quit your job, you have no money." Lin Feng already felt that Bai Shan was either a child of a wealthy family, or the night dress she was wearing. Although the style and color were good, the material must be street goods. I found a way to get the money, but I'm very depressed. There are 8 families living in this big house. I know you well, so I'll chat with you for a while. When Bai Shan said this, she finally wanted to smoke. She blinked at Lin Feng and grabbed the Hongtashan cigarette case, counted it carefully, and said with a smile, "There are only 9 left. I smoked this one, there are only 8 left. Why don't you go out and buy cigarettes, and I'll watch the door for you." Lin Feng is not worried about Bai Shan stealing his things. The furniture and electrical appliances in the room are all broken. Except for the computer, all of them belong to the landlord. He has it in his room and Bai Shan's room too. If you don't have money, just put your wallet and mobile phone away, so you won't be afraid of thieves. But Lin Feng didn't want to go out to buy cigarettes. After having dinner, he strolled on the nearby road for a long time, and now he doesn't want to move at all. "I'll go buy it, you wait for me." Bai Shan smiled at Lin Feng and went out to buy cigarettes. Even if Bai Shan bought a pack of cigarettes for 5 yuan, Lin Feng was a little grateful. After spending more than 10 packs of cigarettes, he could finally get something in return. Bai Shan first changed her nightgown to casual clothes, went out to buy cigarettes, and didn't go to Lin Feng's room immediately. She changed her casual clothes to nightgowns, and then came here with her cigarettes. Lin Feng was immediately stunned. What Bai Shan bought was not a box of 5 yuan cigarettes, but a piece of soft Chinese. Is this girl crazy? If she doesn't buy it, it's amazing. You just ran out in your night dress. No, Bai Shan told him the procedure for changing her clothes. Lin Feng was very puzzled. He felt that it was more appropriate for Bai Shan to wear casual clothes to his room, so that he wouldn't have to torture him too much. Lin Feng could smell the fragrance of Bai Shan's body, and could vaguely see the traces of the bust and panties. There was a lot of snow under the neck, the chest was high, the buttocks were round, and the lines were beautiful. "I bought such an expensive cigarette, and I even bought one. It's almost a month's rent, can't you?" "Yeah, I've already told you. I found a way to get the money, and I'll move out tomorrow afternoon. I borrowed so much cigarettes from you before, and it's time to pay you back." Lin Feng obviously made a profit. All the cigarettes Bai Shan borrowed did not add up to less than 100 yuan, but what Bai Shan returned to him was a piece of soft china worth more than 600 yuan. Lin Feng felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. He smiled and said, "Bai Shan, I don't care where you are going to make a fortune. I can't have any of your cigarettes, at most 1 box, and you can take the rest. If you don't, you will look down on me." When Bai Shan said this, Lin Feng felt a little depressed. "You're too much. I don't mean to look down on you at all. I've been living in Beijing. It's not easy for anyone, and I haven't helped you. I can't ask you for something so expensive." Bai Shan started to cry, and Lin Feng couldn't continue. "Hurry up and stop crying. I didn't bully you. The neighbors will misunderstand when they hear it. Do you know what the fortune I found?" "I don't know." Lin Feng vaguely guessed something. "I promised to be the lover of the owner of Lifa supermarket. It's 5,000 yuan a month. This is a figure that I haven't achieved after nearly 2 years of struggle," Bai Shan said. Lin Feng was surprised. Lifa supermarket is near this community. Lin Feng used to buy things from there, mostly daily necessities. The boss is a man in his 50s, just over 160, with brown skin and a big flat face. His real name is Lu Lifa. Nicknamed the Pie. Dabbing is simply a guy with an extremely ugly appearance. Lin Feng even suspected that the length of dabbing would not exceed 8 centimeters. He has always hated dabbing's wretched eyes. But now, his beautiful neighbor turned out to be the lover of dabbing. A man like dabbing would enjoy Bai Shan's beautiful and graceful body. "Bai Shan, you're too clueless. Even if you really want to do this, you should find something better. The pie guy doesn't actually have much money. Do you think how much money can he make in a year from his little broken supermarket? Money, and he should have a wife, right? The Pi has no wife and no children, but I heard that the guy is very expensive, and he has changed several lovers. He doesn't have much money, but he is willing to waste it, and he is willing to give me 5,000 yuan a month. Since Bai Shan is very willing, Lin Feng can't say anything more. Bai Shan's willingness to fall is not something he can manage. Then I wish you all the best in your journey of becoming a lover for dabbing. Are you mocking me? No, Lin Feng was very embarrassed. But I'm mocking myself, you know. I'm still a first girl. I've been in love before, but I've never been with a man. I don't want to give my first girl body to a Pi at all. Lin Feng thought to himself, if he doesn't want to give the Pi, then leave it to me. I've never been with a girl before, but I've fantasized about it many times. Lin Feng was silent, took apart the soft Zonghua, picked one up, and slammed it. He really didn't know what to say to Bai Shan. Originally, he was quite inspired, but now he has no inspiration at all. Do you want me? Bai Shan, don't talk nonsense, we are neighbors, we can't do that. Lin Feng was very surprised, but he also had a strong reaction to that thing. If you don't want me, then my first daughter will be cheap. I think it's better for him to be cheaper than you. Sounds reasonable. Lin Feng is a very normal man, and he is very tall and straight. His height is 180. His thing is so big that even he admires it. His roommate said in college that if you and a woman stand together in a daze, must be fierce. He really wanted to be with a woman, and he even wanted to find a lady before, but she was too expensive, and even a street girl was not cheap in his opinion. The current situation is that Bai Shan gave him a soft china, and he also gave him his first daughter, and he had never been with a girl before. He began to wonder if he really wanted to stupefy Bai Shan, pulled off her and slammed her hard. Bai Shan began to cry again, she was choking, her tears were flowing, her delicate body was shaking, and Lin Feng even saw Bai Shan's chest rise and fall. Lin Feng knows Kung Fu. If he really fights, he is very good at fighting. Taking care of a few ordinary people is like playing, but he doesn't want to cause trouble. He has a hunch that if he really gets into Bai Shan, it may cause him trouble. Everything has to consider the consequences. What if you regret it after finishing it? Even if I take you to the hospital for the repair of the virgin membrane, it is not the original one. What if dabbing finds out, the dog must know it? Some social gangsters, if he asks people to trouble me, I'm afraid I won't be able to live here. I'm writing about a buyout, and I have tasks every month. If something goes wrong and the contract is violated, I will lose my job. Bai Shan stopped crying, there were still tears on her face, but she laughed. You think a lot. If I don't tell him, how would he know? Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 2. Even if Bai Shan doesn't say anything, dabbing may find something. After all, Lifa supermarket is too close to this community, but Bai Shan is too beautiful. Her body is very hot and has a special aroma. A first-time daughter, her wetness may be superb. Desire gradually overwhelmed his concerns. Lin Feng wanted to fall in love with Bai Shan, and his desire to fall in love with her was very strong. As long as he pressed Bai Shan onto the bed, he could experience the feeling of rushing into the girl's body. Lin Feng, like other normal boys, has been fantasizing about that feeling since junior high school. In junior high school, there was a beautiful teacher with a big butt. No matter whether she wore long pants or long skirts, it was easy to show traces of small pants. Many boys' teachers loved to see her ass, and many male students loved to see her ass. Lin Feng also fantasized about the beautiful teacher's butt. At that time, there was no such thing as black fungus, but now Lin Feng thinks about it. When the beautiful teacher gave them a lecture in cadence, it was already black fungus. What she showed in front of the public was on the bright side. She will not easily let others see her black fungus, nor will she easily let others see her crazy side. She must be very violent when she rides on a man's body. Later, there was a scandal between the beautiful teacher and the principal, and many people knew that she not only rode her husband's body upside down, but also rode her headmaster's body upside down. After the scandal spread, I imagine that the beautiful teacher has more students. According to legend, the more windburned women are, the more cool they are, and some black fungus are very good. But after all, there is a big difference between fantasy and real experience. Under Bai Shan's strong seduction, he couldn't hold it anymore. Lin Feng believes that Bai Shan is definitely not a black fungus. She is still a very tender girl. After she truly becomes the lover of dabbing, she may gradually become darker, but she must be fresh now. But there is also a possibility that Bai Shan, who is the first daughter, is already very dark. The color of her part is in sharp contrast with her snow-white skin. It was not turned black by men's repeated attacks, but was born with so dark, then she will be very innocent. God made a ridiculous joke with her, making her skin very white, but making her fungus very black. There shouldn't be any risk either. Maybe after he gets on Bai Shan, he just enjoys it and won't cause any trouble. Lin Feng, you're too timid. I'll give it to you. You don't want it? Then I'll go. It seems that my first daughter can only be cheap and disgusting. Bai Shan stabbed Lin Feng with resentment. Go away at a glance. Lin Feng hugged her. At that moment, Lin Feng felt Bai Shan's softness and her temperature. Lin Feng's hand was a little flustered and kneaded against her chest. But the feel is already great. Lin Feng picked up Bai Shan and rolled onto the bed, kissing Bai Shan's red lips. Although Lin Feng was still a first-time boy, he used to kiss his ex-girlfriend often, and his skills were still good. During the hot kiss, Lin Feng took off Bai Shan's nightgown and saw a large area of her skin as white as jade. Lin Feng began to kiss Bai Shan's chest, and her heart was full of excitement. Lin Feng took off Bai Shan's trousers, and flirted with her wet place. Bai Shan trembled and panted under his provocation. When Lin Feng rushed in, Bai Shan screamed. Lin Feng didn't start exercising right away. He savored the warm package with his heart, and whispered, "Don't yell, the neighbors will hear it." The pain was very strong, and sweat came out of Bai Shan's forehead. She looked at Lin Feng's face with a different look and nodded. Lin Feng swayed to his heart's content. He must be very cool. How could he be unhappy doing that with a young girl with a beautiful face and a great figure? It's much more beautiful than expected. Bai Shan's tender body was rippling. She was in pain. She wanted to scream, but she didn't dare. Although it was the first time, Lin Feng's performance was not very bad. He insisted on it for a long time. Lin Feng didn't leave Bai Shan's body immediately, and continued to kiss her, starting from her mouth, almost all over her body. Bai Shan gasped for a long time and then calmed down. She smiled charmingly. "You should be a man who is very considerate to women. Every man will be considerate of a woman, it just depends on how that woman treats him. Fate is very strange. Forget it, don't say it, do what you need to do, and you can go," Lin Feng said. "But I don't want to leave tonight, I just want to sleep in your bed." "You can do it once before dawn. Aren't you afraid of pain? Don't be afraid. Since you don't want to leave, then sleep on my bed. I'll turn off the computer first." Lin Feng originally planned to finish with Bai Shan and continue to write something, but now he doesn't even have the mood to write anything. He just wants to sleep with his arms around Bai Shan's tender body. Lin Feng knew that he and Bai Shan would not have in-depth development, that is, mutual satisfaction. He put his arms around Bai Shan's delicate body, and sometimes touched her chest, sometimes her back, and sometimes her wet place. At the same time, he also thought of his ex-girlfriend. Maybe she is doing well now, maybe she is lonely now, but that has nothing to do with him. When they broke up, she was very decisive and sneered at him. After a while, he resolutely threw himself into the arms of the rich man. It's early morning. Lin Feng never fell asleep, but Bai Shan snuggled in his arms and slept soundly. Looking at Bai Shan's lovely sleeping face, Lin Feng felt very uncomfortable, because he was not hugging a woman he loved, but a woman who was about to become another man's lover. Bai Shan said, "He can do it again before dawn, it will be dawn soon. If he doesn't do it again, there will be no chance." Bai Shan sleeps soundly. If he suddenly does that, it will disturb Bai Shan's dream. Lin Feng was even a little tragic, so he might as well not do it and let Bai Shan sleep, but this thought was quickly shattered by impulse, and he decided to do it again. Lin Feng lifted Bai Shan's leg and placed it on his. At that moment, before Bai Shan was half asleep, she seemed to understand what Lin Feng was going to do, and she was a little flustered, not knowing what to pose. In this posture, Lin Feng raised her legs. Could it be that she wanted her to go to the top, but she was not very good at it, so in the end she lay down. Lin Feng pressed Bai Shan's body. This time when he rushed in, Bai Shan cried out again. Lin Feng snorted, Bai Shan nodded painfully, and Lin Feng started to move. He wanted to slow down the pace, but under strong stimulation, he became faster and faster. This time, Lin Feng's performance was better than the first time. It turned out to be 50 minutes faster. At first, Bai Shan's expression was very painful, but gradually, she felt happy. After the enthusiasm, Lin Feng put his arms around Bai Shan's delicate body, lit a piece of soft china that Bai Shan had bought for him, and asked, "Did you just now? I don't know if it's an orgasm. After all, I've never experienced one before. Anyway, it's a very comfortable and special feeling. I can't describe it. Maybe what Bai Shan experienced just now was not an orgasm, but she will definitely experience an in the future. Maybe the big cake that is definitely not that big will bring her an orgasm, maybe other men will bring her an." Bai Shan left Lin Feng's room, leaving behind a piece of fragrance, a piece of bright red, a piece of soft china, and a piece of loneliness. Went to the first daughter Bai Shan twice and experienced 2 orgasms, but Lin Feng felt a little lonely. He doesn't need to be responsible for Bai Shan, and neither does Bai Shan. He doesn't know how Bai Shan will feel when he thinks about his affairs many years later. After many years, Bai Shan should not always be a lover to a man. Maybe she is married and has a child. Maybe he will see Bai Shan and her child on an unpredictable street. Bai Shan, maybe you will think in your heart, that man, me, and I gave him my first daughter. Afternoon. Dabing came and helped Bai Shan remove all the luggage. Dabing was not tall, but his voice was very high, as if he was afraid that others would not know that he packed Bai Shan. "Are you sure you're done with everything? My car is parked outside. I just washed it." Those who didn't know the situation thought that Dabing was driving a high-end car of more than 500,000 yuan. In fact, he was driving a broken Jetta. If it was covered in dust, even if the car had plastic surgery, it looked even more broken when it was cleaned. Bai Shan's luggage was put in the trunk of Dabing's old Jetta. From now on, she will live with Dabing until the day when Dabing tires of her or the day she wants to leave. Lin Feng heard Dabing's high-pitched voice, and Lin Feng wanted to rush out and slap Dabing hard, and then kicked him violently, pushing his knees against his things, but Lin Feng had no reason to do so. Bai Shan was not him. Who is he, who has only slept with him, is Bai Shan's own willingness. Lin Feng could have imagined that after Dabing took Bai Shan over, he would play with her body severely. The things in Dabing would not be too big, but he would be a girl who is very experienced in playing with girls, and he would separate Bai Shan's legs. Playing tricks on her. Lin Feng guessed right. As soon as he entered the door, Dabing took Bai Shan away. He couldn't give her his wallet for free, he had to use her. Although it was not a big thing, it was very powerful. Last night, Gu and Bai Shan were very enthusiastic. Lin Feng did not write the expected manuscript, so he had to work overtime in the morning. He usually doesn't write in the morning because it's almost noon when he wakes up. After getting up and washing up, he will sit in a chair and smoke, then go out to eat and walk, and write when he comes back. At noon, Lin Feng went out to eat and passed by the door of the Lifa supermarket of Dabing. He saw about 10 people in the supermarket, all of whom were giving money to Dabing, but they could not walk forward 100 meters. In a larger supermarket, Lin Feng will no longer give money to Dabing in the future. Lin Feng ate the double-cooked pork rice bowl, bought another bottle of green tea, and returned to the partition room he rented. As soon as he sat on the chair, opened the green tea and took a sip, he heard a knock on the door. Lin Feng was startled. Could it be Bai Shan? He walked over and opened the door. Immediately, he was not so worried. It was another girl who knocked on the door. He didn't know the girl's name, but he knew she had a boyfriend. "It's you, is there something wrong?" "It's nothing. I just heard that you write online novels. I'm very curious. Come and have a look." "Come in," Lin Feng said with a smile. This girl is not as beautiful as Bai Shan, she has a round face, looks a bit cute, and a little pure, but Lin Feng has already removed this point of innocence, because he knows that this girl has slept with at least 2 men, one of them is her boyfriend, the other is a man about 10 years older than her, who seems to be her hometown. The girl was not polite, she walked in and sat on Lin Feng's chair, playing with his computer, as if this was her home. Lin Feng could only sit on the chair next to him and said with a smile, "Do you usually like to read online novels?" "Look, I like to read novels like Let the Bad CEO Let Me Go. It's so exciting, but I haven't met a single CEO." "Let me see what you wrote," the girl said. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Peach Youth. Author, Sci-fi. Chapter 3. The website where Lin Feng wrote the buyout was called xxnovel.com. He opened the page and found his novel. "This is what I wrote. Urban life novel, it looks pretty good. Oh, your pen name is Mu Feng, why not Mu Yun or Mu Yu?" the girl asked curiously. Lin Feng thought to himself, "Yun Yu, your sister," but he wouldn't really scold her, because there was no reason to scold her. "My name is Lin Feng, and I took a pseudonym from the characters Feng. So that's what it is. By the way, you don't seem to know what my name is." "My name is Lu Ziona, which is a very earthy name." "Your name is very common. There are at least millions of people in Huaxia who call you that name, but you are very good at dressing yourself up. I think you are always fashionable no matter what kind of clothes you wear. You're pretty good at talking. I'm still fashionable, and I don't have any money at all. Last week, I lost my crazy phone on the bus. I'm so depressed." Lu Ziona sighed. "If you lose it, you lose it, the old one doesn't go away, and the new one doesn't come," Lin Feng said with a smile. "It costs a few thousand to buy a new one." Lu Ziona began to read the novel written by Lin Feng. She didn't seem to be very interested in this urban life novel. Perhaps the protagonist in the opening chapter was too ordinary, not the bad CEO in her mind, but a very ordinary boy. Lin Feng thought to himself, "At least 2 men have slept with you, you can ask one of them to buy it for you, and if you are knowledgeable enough, you can even ask both of them to pool money to buy it for you." "How much do you earn a month?" Lu Ziona asked. If it is a person with a high income, he is reluctant to tell others how much he can earn, unless he is a person who loves to show off his wealth. But people with low incomes don't mind this much. "Anyway, if I told you, you wouldn't blackmail me. Be diligent, you can have more than 6,000 yuan, and if you're lazy, it's more than 4,000 yuan," Lin Feng said. Lu Ziona began to ponder in her heart, if Lin Feng got more than 4,000 yuan last month, it would be enough to buy her a crazy mobile phone. You can buy an 8G phone. She likes white, because white represents purity. Although Luziona had that kind of thing with a man a few years ago, she always looked pure, even a little naive, especially her big eyes flickered, making it easy for people to think of the word innocence. Luziona was wearing a denim skirt, her slender calves were exposed and wrapped in black stockings. Her legs were tightened and separated, and soon they were tightened again. She crossed her hands on her legs and was doing nothing. Do you have a girlfriend? No. Then you live alone in this small room, aren't you lonely? Sometimes I'm lonely, sometimes I'm not lonely. Lin Feng didn't want to talk to Luziona anymore, but he couldn't drive her out. Then are you lonely now? Are you okay? If it's okay, go out first. I haven't finished writing my manuscript yet, Lin Feng said angrily. Looking at you, you're still angry. It's so boring. Maybe I really disturbed you just now. I'm sorry, big writer, I'll go now. Oh, by the way, tell me your QQ number. Lin Feng told Luziona QQ number. She finally went out, but left behind a scent, not very high-end perfume but a little addicted. Luziona is a very deceptive person. Her appearance and temperament can easily deceive people who don't know her. Maybe this should be considered her ability. In a prosperous city, both men and women should behave a little bit. Unsurprisingly, just 10 minutes later, someone added him as a friend, and his online name was Qingchun Xiaodian. Lin Feng knew that this innocent snack was Luziona. Her innocence was fake, and the wind burnt was her true color, but she was indeed the snack of at least 2 men. Those 2 men had served her many times. Made her let out a ha ha ha. Luziona's shouting was not as simple as ah ah ah. One night after 1 o'clock in the morning, when Lin Feng finished writing the manuscript for the day and walked out of the room to go to the bathroom, he could clearly hear Luziona's cry, like crying, but it was definitely not a sad cry, but an intoxicated orgasm. It was her boyfriend who did that with Luziona that night. This guy's rhythm is generally fast, at least 100 beats per minute, but the time he insists on seems to be a little short. Lin Feng actually didn't want to hear this kind of sound all the time, but he couldn't help it. The materials of several partition rooms were made of aluminum alloy frames and gypsum boards. The shouts from the 5 rooms were some from couples, and some from strangers. You love me, I love you, let's sleep. You don't love me, I don't love you, let's sleep. The first time you see me, the first time I see you, let's sleep. Lin Feng added Qingchun snacks as a friend. Luziona sat on the bed in the other partition room. A small computer desk was placed on the bed with a notebook on it. Luziona sent Lin Feng a smile, a very reserved smile, as if she was embarrassed to chat with Lin Feng. Lin Feng frowned slightly. He began to think about whether to continue coding or chat with Luziona. After a pause just now, he didn't want to write anymore. That's how coding is, the more he wants to write when the keyboard runs, but after a short pause, you may not want to write anymore. Although he chose to be an online writer, in the eyes of many classmates and friends, he is a bit unprofessional, but Lin Feng is a very self-motivated person. He really wants to make achievements in the field he likes. Although he is very poor now, he might be a rich man in the future. If he posts it one day, it means that it is God's will. God treats him well, so let's continue to code. Lin Feng didn't reply to the smiley face that Luziona sent. It's really a piece of wood, don't you see that I'm interested in you? Don't you even know how to do things like hunting? Qingchun snack, are you busy? Lin Feng was a little depressed. It seemed that Luziona had to chat with him right or wrong. Maybe she was embarrassed to say something in person, so she wanted to use the internet. Lin Feng, I'm a little busy. If you're chatting, let's do it another day. I don't have time now. Qingchun snacks, it doesn't matter, I only take 10 minutes from you, and I won't talk much, okay? Lin Feng, all right. Ching Chun nodded, you see, we live very close, I like talented people very much, if you have no ability at all, you can't do your job, I admire you very much, I think you are quite lonely, want to shall we play? Lin Feng completely understood what Lu Xiaona meant. It seemed that this little girl was trying to get money from him. Lin Feng didn't intend to give Lu Xiaona money, but he still tentatively sent a message, how to play. Lu Xiaona, you buy me a love crazy, and I'll play it for you 50 times. It's cheap. If Lu Xiaona only needs more than 4,000 love madness, then after 50 times, it will be less than 100 yuan once, which is cheaper than a street girl. This made Lin Feng puzzled. Lu Xiaona, a seemingly innocent girl, how black has her fungus already turned into ink? The white and tender legs are matched with the black fungus as ink and wash, and the black and white are distinct. Just like his beautiful teacher in junior high school. Lin Feng didn't plan to reply to Lu Xiaona anymore, he wanted to treat silence as a rejection, but half an hour later he found out that he was wrong because Lu Xiaona came over in person. Lu Xiaona is no longer wearing a denim skirt, but a pink and white pajamas. Her hair is also loose, and there is a smell of wind burning in the style. Lu Xiaona walked to Lin Feng's side, pursed her lips and smiled and began to shake his arm. How does your brain grow, so cheap? What I want is the kind of love madness that costs more than 4,000 yuan, isn't it? 32G, less than 100 yuan at a time, you will die. I still want to live. If I let you die, I will stop updating and I will be sorry for my readers, so you should let me live. You're so boring. I'm just bored. You might as well find someone interesting. Besides, you have a boyfriend. You and I will be sad when your boyfriend finds out about it. I won't give him a chance to be sad. I won't come to you when he comes, and I will come to you when he doesn't come. Full of burnt flavor. Sometimes men like women's suwei. Although the concentration of hormones in the room is very high, it can be warm at any time, but Lin Feng feels disgusting, as if Lu Xiaona is so black that the fungus has appeared in front of him, very dark but very moist. It doesn't seem right. Black fungus may not make men feel sick, and it is easier for men to feel excited. If a woman is very good, even if someone has her, she will still be very good, so there will be more people lining up to get on her. Hurry up and go out. Even if you want to find someone who buys you crazy, you shouldn't come to me. I can't bear to spend a month's fee to buy such an expensive mobile phone. How can I buy it for you? Lin Feng took out his mobile phone, slapped the screen and said, look at my mobile phone, although it is also a smartphone, it is very cheap, just in the early 1000s, just this broken mobile phone, I am a treasure, a bus operator. At that time, I was afraid of being stolen, so I listened to music on the bus, and when the earphones stopped ringing, my hand would go to my trouser pocket. My brother, you are so fierce, you can scare the thief to death. You are a real old hat. If you leave, you will treat me as if I didn't say anything. Lu Xiaona was obviously very depressed. His was twisted badly. Lin Feng is indeed tall and straight. Lin Feng's thing is very big, and it is terrifying to be tall and straight. Although Lu Xiaona had a fever just now, he was still stimulated. A few days later, Lin Feng sent the manuscript fee again. He was still diligent this month. He took more than 5,000 yuan, rent and living expenses. More than 2,000 yuan a month was enough. He saved the remaining 3,000 yuan in the one he specially prepared. On the card, Lin Feng's home is in a small town. The town is not broken, but it is not rich either. The people there live a relatively limited life, but most of them have never seen anything in the world. Lin Feng's parents run a vegetable shop that sells both vegetables and meat dishes. They earn about 3,000 a month. In that small town, this kind of income is enough for food and clothing. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 4. Whether it is the poor or the rich, there will always be the desire to splurge. It is not that Lin Feng has not splurged before, but that time he was deceived by a liquor holder. The photos in the wine tray space are very beautiful, and the diary is very tastefully written, citing Zhang Ailing and Yu Hua, and the information stated that they graduated from the University of Science and Technology. I chatted with her enthusiastically. After making an appointment to meet near a flower market, Lin Feng happily took a taxi, but there were several large-scale bars and discos not far from the flower market. The girl took him there and just ordered a fruit plate and pistachios. And 2 glasses of red wine cost more than 1,000 yuan. Lin Feng is not a fool. He knows that when he meets a wine holder, he instantly loses the heart to fall in love with this girl, but he still wants to try it. Is this wine holder the kind of girl who sleeps with men casually? If so, then despise her. When he suggested that the girl would open a room with him, the girl got annoyed and asked coldly, "Are you tired of living? I have a brother nearby, he is a socialist, be careful if I ask him to come and break your leg." Lin Feng is not very afraid. He knows Kung Fu. It is like playing against several people by himself. How many people he can beat alone, even he himself does not know. In every previous fight, he did not give all potential is realized. He doesn't want to cause trouble at all. If he hits someone, it's okay to lose money. If the police catch him, the trouble will be even greater. Lin Feng considered himself unlucky, and since then, he didn't really want to meet netizens. His stomach was a little hungry. He planned to go to a ramen restaurant to eat noodles, so he walked out of the room. When he passed by outside Lu Ziona's room, it was easy to hear a warm voice. Lu Ziona was with her boyfriend again. Thinking of what Lu Ziona made to him in the past, Lin Feng smiled contemptuously and walked over quickly. At this time, Lu Ziona was bending over and crawling on the bed. Her boyfriend was pressing her from behind. Lu Ziona's chest was shaking against the bed. She heard footsteps and knew that Lin Feng had gone out. People who don't want to buy her love crazy go out to eat. There is a delicious ramen restaurant, which is about 2 kilometers away from the community where Lin Feng lives. Lin Feng walked over with the purpose of exercising. Among the people passing by him, there were several pretty girls, some of whom were wearing short skirts. Some of them also wore tight pants. Lin Feng admired their looks with eyes that were not easily noticed by passers-by. When he was about to walk to the ramen restaurant, Lin Feng saw a familiar figure. It was Bai Shan who gave him the body of his first daughter. Bai Shan is alone, and there is no big cake by her side. Could it be divided in such a short time? If so, Bai Shan's dream of earning 5,000 yuan per month will be shattered. Bai Shan was wearing a half-sleeved shirt and trousers, her beautiful face showed a bright smile, and her slender and graceful body exuded a seductive charm. Although she is someone else's lover, people who don't know her still think that a girl like her is very aloof. Many people don't know that, so many people think she is aloof. Lin Feng knew, but Bai Shan was calm towards him and gave him her first daughter, so he didn't have much opinion on Bai Shan. Bai Shan just wanted to make money in her own way, and no one could control her. "Lin Feng, are you here for dinner?" "Yeah, why did you come here, you and?" Lin Feng felt that this was not the place to talk, so he didn't go on. "You go to eat first, I've eaten, I'll find you later." Bai Shan smiled and walked away. Lin Feng's heartbeat is a little abnormal. Dabbing's lover, what do you want to do with him? Do you still want to continue doing that? No matter, eat the noodles first. Lin Feng ate the ramen and quickly returned to his partition room without delaying a minute or a second on the road. He sat down on the chair and took out the soft Zonghua bought for him by Bai Shan from the drawer. One pulled up. Such a good cigarette, if you smoke it every day, it will be exhausted soon, so Lin Feng gave himself 2 soft Chinese cigarettes a day, and then he smoked other cigarettes, so that the soft Chinese that Bai Shan gave him could be smoked for almost 3 months. What happened between Bai Shan and Dabbing? Is it because Dabbing has taken a fancy to someone else, or is Bai Shan conscious, and doesn't want to be Dabbing's lover anymore? After Bai Shan moved out from here, she lost the key to the door. She sent a text message to Lin Feng when she arrived at the door, and Lin Feng ran out to open the door for her. Bai Shan followed Lin Feng and walked quickly into the partition room. After sitting on the chair, Bai Shan smiled charmingly. Have you shared the pie? No points. It's estimated that they won't be divided within 2 months. Pour me some water and make some of your jasmine tea. Wait a minute. Lin Feng started to make tea. He felt that he was thinking too much. Now the relationship between Bai Shan and Dabbing is still going on. Even if they have broken up, it does not matter to him. Lin Feng made 2 cups of tea, and chatted with Bai Shan while drinking tea. How does Dabbing treat you? It's alright, he has nothing wrong with him other than lust. After I became his lover, he bought me a few sets of clothes and 2 bags for me. I want him to give it to me. Buy a gold ring, but he said it will take a while, that is. What is it? He can do it quite well, at least twice a day at night, and sometimes he goes back to do it with me once during the day. His thing is very small, and he felt a little bit at first, but then he didn't feel it anymore. I felt like a pile of rotten flesh was pressing down on me, and it was unbearable to death. Lin Feng didn't expect Bai Shan to talk to him about her and Dabbing. Lin Feng smiled and said, you don't need to tell me this. It's still you who is fierce. Although I hurt a lot for our 2 times, I miss you a lot. Don't think about me, we have no future. You are not stinky, you think I want to develop with you, you all know that I am a lover for others, how can I be your girlfriend? Otherwise, you can't talk about it when arguing, and you may slap in the face. Fan me, I said I miss you, I just want to be with you, that's the way it is, and I'll always think about it after I have it. When Bai Shan said this, she sat on Lin Feng's lap. At this time, Bai Shan has another identity. She is Dabbing's lover, so the one who sits on his lap is Dabbing's lover. Lin Feng's hand touched Bai Shan's plump thigh. Let's stop messing around, let Dabbing know, he will hit you. He's busy taking care of his broken supermarket right now. He won't know. If you don't want to, then forget it. If you want, come quickly. Although Bai Shan became Dabbing's lover and had already had that affair with Dabbing, Lin Feng still wanted to date Bai Shan. Lin Feng picked up Bai Shan and put her on the bed. Bai Shan took off her clothes on her own initiative, pulled down her trousers and threw them on Lin Feng's chair, then spread her legs. Lin Feng found that Bai Shan's fungus was not much darker than before, and he rushed in bravely. Bai Shan didn't cry out in pain, but hugged his neck with enjoyment. Lin Feng kissed Bai Shan's chest and pressed hard against her. For more than an hour, Lin Feng and Bai Shan did it twice, one time he pressed Bai Shan, and the other time Bai Shan rode on top of him. Lin Feng found out that after becoming a lover of flatbreads, Bai Shan's bed skills became high. Lin Feng, I'm gone, maybe I'll come to you in the future, but don't text me casually. I'm not that stupid. I won't text you or call you. I don't want to affect your financial path. Unfortunately, I don't know how to write online novels, otherwise I wouldn't have to be a lover for a disgusting thing like Dabbing. Bai Shan left. The messy bed proved that Bai Shan had been here before. Lin Feng felt his own depravity from the 2 enthusiasms just now, but sometimes it's cool for a man to be depraved. Lin Feng began to imagine what kind of girl his future girlfriend would be. Maybe she would be a fresh girl, maybe she would be a black fungus, maybe she would be a very rich girl, maybe she would be poorer than him. Someone knocked on the door. Lin Feng was a little puzzled. Bai Shan had just left. Who was knocking on the door? Could it be that the pie came over? Thinking of Dabbing's hateful face, Lin Feng was still a little nervous. After all, he played Dabbing's lover just now. He was nervous, but Lin Feng was not so scared that he didn't dare to open the door. If he really got into trouble, he would play hard. In high school, he once kicked the dean's son's 3 ribs. At the same time, he even beat a few social gangsters to the ground. He opened the door and saw that it was not Dabbing who brought someone to find him, but Lu Xiona. He smiled and said, "It's you again, what are you doing?" "It's nothing, come to your room and have a look." Lu Xiona walked in, sat on Lin Feng's chair, and started to play with his computer again. "Don't mess with my computer until lose my documents. I really want to delete it for you and ask you to rewrite it. You are too depressed for me. If you don't want me so cheap, I'm willing to give it to you cheaply. If you change someone, you will lose 300 or 500 at a time. Take off. It seems that you did that. I remember you told me before that you were studying English in New Oriental. I say that to everyone. I still have an Oxford dictionary on my bed, but I picked it up on the road, and it inspired me, so I have learned English. In fact, I am the princess of the KTV box of Hintai Hotel. If someone offers a suitable price, I will also introduce it." It turns out that Lu Xiona is the princess of the KTV box of the Hintai Hotel, and sometimes it is even introduced. To put it bluntly, she is a young lady. Then you should be able to earn quite a bit of money. It's no problem for you to buy one yourself. No problem, I can earn more than 20,000 yuan in a good month, and more than 10,000 yuan in the last time. I can earn more than you. Don't think that you are a writer of online novels, you are barely a literature person, but I will take off a small pants. I get more money than you code for a day, but there is no sense of accomplishment with the mobile phone I bought with my own money. My bag, the clothes and shoes I wear are all given to me by men, so I want you to send me crazy love. If you say that you can break the sky, I won't send you crazy. Lin Feng thought to himself, I just did it twice with Bai Shan, and now I'm not impulsive at all. Men will be gentlemen when they are not impulsive. I heard the sound of body slamming and the voice of a woman shouting from your room just now, and then I saw that Bai Shan left in a hurry, and you went on Bai Shan for more than an hour, that is to say, you went the lover of the flatbread for more than an hour. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 5. Lin Feng's head suddenly became bigger. Lu Xiona actually knew that Bai Shan was the lover of the flatbread, and she even knew that he was with Bai Shan just now. Lin Feng didn't panic, he smiled and said, "How do you know that Bai Shan is the lover of Dabbing? Dabbing can be ruined very much. He is a maipa with a tone of voice. He often goes to the KTV of Jinhao Hotel to sing. To tell you the truth, I have done it with Dabbing before. His thing is very small, and the drinking is high." After talking about it, he found a new lover named Bai Shan, who has fine skin and tender meat, and it is very fun to play. "Oh what are you doing?" Lin Feng pinched Lu Xiona's neck. Lu Xiona felt suffocated and her eyes widened. Many murders happen unexpectedly, and a person's life may end at an unexpected moment. "Please, let go, let me go, I won't talk nonsense." Lin Feng is also afraid of strangling Lu Xiona. If that's the case, his life will be over, and his novels will be broken for a lifetime. Those readers who have white beards may still be scolding him. Value. Lin Feng let go of her and said coldly, "If you dare to talk nonsense about Dabbing, I'll kill you." "Stop teasing, you don't dare to kill me, otherwise you will be imprisoned, your novels will be discontinued, and your readers will leave messages to scold you. Little watch. You really understand my heart, I rely on that." "Lu Xiona, what do you want? You bought love crazy for me. I really want to kill Cook." "Even if you kill Cook, the love madness will still exist. Although I am a young lady, I am also a fan of fruit." In the face of Lu Xiona's soft threat, Lin Feng really had no good way to calm her down for a while. It would be impossible to buy her love madness. There are thousands of them, and he is reluctant to buy them, so why should you buy them for her? What on earth do you want? Lin Feng, you are very interesting, you actually got the lover of dabbing. I don't know if you despise dabbing in your heart while exerting force on Bai Shan's body. I seem to see that there is a green hat on dabbing. Circling and flying on his head, wherever the flatbread goes, the green top hat will fly. Snapped. Lin Feng got angry and slapped him in the face. Lu Xiona immediately fell to the ground, blood flowed from the corner of her mouth, but her tears were swirling but not flowing. Lu Xiona received a slap in the face and did not panic, the corners of her mouth twisted and she climbed up, looking at Lin Feng in astonishment. My brother, what's the matter? I'm just chatting with you, what are you beating me for? You're killing me. If you don't get out, I'll hit you again. I won't get out, you can kill me if you have the ability. Lin Feng, I really don't believe it, what can you do to me? Lin Feng felt a sense of frustration. He was very powerless when he met a young lady who was not afraid of anything. It's impossible for me to spend so much money to buy love crazy for you. Otherwise, wouldn't you introduce it? How much money do you have at one time? It depends on who it is. If it's a very rich person, 1,800, not a very rich person, 300 to 500, maybe 1 or 200 if you want. Then I'll give you 100, come once, I'll be considered as my contribution to buying love crazy for you. Don't pester me in the future, it's not easy to make money with code words, please, miss. Lu Xiona laughed. The corners of her mouth were swollen and blood-stained, but she smiled happily. You know how good I am, right? Understood. Lin Feng thought to himself, I didn't slap you to death just now, how dare you say, but you are really powerful. Maybe there are many indomitable people like you in the ranks of the young lady, and some young ladies were strangled to death. It was thrown into the well because it was too indefatigable. If you want to come, I'll charge you 100 at a time, but if you come at least 10 times, you can also pack the night. I'll charge you 300, so that's 3 packs of nights to take out for one order. It seems that Lu Xiona wants to get 1,000 yuan from him, which is a quarter of love crazy. Lin Feng doesn't have much opinion on the fruit fan group, because he also wants to buy love crazy, and even wants to buy the whole series of Apple, but he is reluctant. Spend money, but he has a lot of opinions on Lu Xiona, a fruit fan. Why don't you do it like this? I'll give you 500 yuan to do it twice. I'll give it to you. You're too calculating. Since we are neighbors, I won't make it difficult for you. Just as you said, oh, when do you want to spend the night? I don't want to tonight. My boyfriend is coming tonight. Even if you want to, I won't come to your room, in 2 days. Lin Feng nodded bitterly. Lu Xiona walked out with her hips twisted. Maybe her fungus is very black, but her hips are very upturned. When she walks on the road, she is more shining. Many people will appreciate her and think she is a pure and lovely girl. Miss, you have bewitched the hearts of many people. Miss, you ruined my money. Miss, if I have to wear a condom. I'm afraid you will be sick. Night. Lin Feng was sitting in the partition room writing the manuscript. He knew that Lu Xiona's boyfriend was here, the guy who worked as a barber, but Lin Feng was a little puzzled as to whether that guy knew that his girlfriend was a young lady. Lu Xiona's boyfriend is named Zhao Xiaogang. He works as a barber in a barber shop 5 kilometers away. He is very good at cutting hair, especially good at designing hairstyles for women. He is also very good at dyeing and perming. There used to be a woman with a little money. I was very satisfied after letting him get a haircut, and I ordered him every time I went, and I went very often. Gradually, they became acquainted with each other and kept their contact information. Then, the woman in her 40s invited Zhao Xiaogang to the house while her husband was away on a business trip, sucked Zhao Xiaogang's thing with her mouth crazily, and then rode to him. His body twisted violently. Although the woman was in her 40s and the fungus was particularly black, I don't know why, it was so cool to do it with her. It was no worse than when I did it with Lu Xiaona. From then on, when Zhao Xiaogang used force on Lu Xiona's body, all thought of that woman, who always climaxed in fantasy. Zhao Xiaogang had been in a relationship with that woman for almost 3 months, and then the woman changed her contact information and never went to the barber shop again. Zhao Xiaogang knew that this was because she didn't want to continue contacting him, so that's fine. There is no monetary loss, nothing more than whitewashing that woman many times. When Lin Feng's code words were very surging, Lu Xiona and Zhao Xiaogang were also very surging. Zhao Xiaogang pressed on Lu Xiona's body, lifted her legs, and moved very violently. Lu Xiona was leaning forward and backward, but Lin Feng was imagining it. Although Lu Xiona and Lin Feng had already made an agreement, the two of them had never done it before. At this time, in Lu Xiona's fantasy, it was not Zhao Xiaogang but Lin Feng who was exerting force on her body. Because of Lu Xiona's fantasy, Lin Feng was shot while lying down. I don't know how many men were shot while lying in a woman's fantasy, and I don't know how many women were shot while lying in a man's fantasy. When masturbating in the bathroom, the fantasy may be a female star or a young and beautiful woman he has met on the road. He is masturbating, as if he is playing with that woman's body. Lu Xiona and Zhao Xiaogang's first time was over, both of them were panting. Lu Xiona's body was very wet, and the sheets were wet. Zhao Xiaogang lit a cigarette, he became depressed. Lu Xiona always felt guilty, because Zhao Xiaogang didn't know what she was doing as a young lady, and thought she was just drinking and singing with the guests, and it was as simple as being scratched by the guests occasionally. The chest can be touched, and the pants can't be taken off. This is Zhao Xiaogang's most obvious request to Lu Xiona. Xiao Na. What's the matter, husband? Ask you something, I hope you tell me the truth. Just ask. Are you a lady now? No, who did you listen to, who is this? It's too much to smear my face, it's not good to die. Lu Xiona was very excited. Snapped. Zhao Xiaogang slapped him in the face. Ah! Lu Xiona screamed and fell to one side, crying aggrieved, I'm not a young lady, I just sing and drink with the guests. If you lie to me again, I will break up with you. Since I asked you, there must be evidence, Zhao Xiaogang said coldly. Lu Xiona was silent. In her business, it is easy to leak, because the hotel where she works is not far from the barber shop where Zhao Xiaogang works. Although Lu Xiona is not loyal to Zhao Xiaogang, she still loves Zhao Xiaogang a little bit and doesn't want to break up with him. Yeah, I've been on stage a few times, but why? I don't want to make more money, and then we can buy a house in Beijing in the future. Then you can't sell it either. As far as my level is concerned, is there anything more profitable than selling? I'm not literate, but I have a body, so I just want to make money with my body. If you feel awkward, don't be nice to me. It's over. Lu Xiona did not compromise at all, and decided to sell it. Zhao Xiaogang was smoking a cigarette in anguish. He also knows that women are actually very expensive to sell. Pay papa, banknotes are here. Anyway, you've sold it too, so keep selling it. But I don't want you to be a chicken all the time, that would be too unchasing. I hope you will become a chicken head one day. Husband, you are so bold, I will definitely become a chicken head. Lu Xiona and Zhao Xiaogang hugged each other tightly, and in the ardent kiss, they were surging again. A chicken who doesn't want to be a chicken head is not a good chicken. Lu Xiona is a chicken now, but she hopes that one day, her subordinates will have many chickens. Morning. Lin Feng slept until after 10 o'clock before getting up. After taking a shower, he stared at the computer for a while, and it was almost noon. He walked out and walked on the street only to realize that his partition room was actually very dark. Although there were 2 glass windows to receive sunlight, it was still a little dark. When he can get more than 10,000 royalties a month, he plans to rent a 1-bedroom to live by himself, instead of always living with these various people. The big house has 8 partitions, and different people live. And it has been changing all the time, like a little chaotic small society. Lin Feng worked overtime last night to write something. He planned to reward himself. He sat in the restaurant and asked for rice, shredded green pepper and pork, and 2 bottles of beer. 5 or 6 bottles of beer is no problem, and it costs too much to drink, so when he wants to drink, he usually needs to. Lin Feng was drinking beer when he suddenly saw a familiar figure. It was his beautiful landlord Shang Yunjuan. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 6. Shang Yunjuan is in her 30s this year. Her face is not that stunningly beautiful, but she is very attractive and charming. She is about 165 in height, very plump and plump. She belongs to the kind of woman who can easily arouse men's desire. She has big breasts. Big ass, it's easy to make people think about it. Lin Feng didn't want to say hello to Shang Yunjuan, but Shang Yunjuan had already seen him and came over and smiled at him. How about drinking alone? I didn't call a few friends. Everyone is usually very busy. Beijing is too big. It's a waste of time to walk back and forth, so I can only drink it alone. I'll go first. Shang Yunjuan smiled at Lin Feng again and walked out with hot steps. The charming woman Shang Yunjuan likes to use cosmetics and perfume. She always smells of rose perfume. Lin Feng doesn't know much about Shang Yunjuan, but she only knows that she has a graphic and text production center, which is not very large in scale, and does not even do lightbox work. Usually, most of it is photocopying and business card work. It is estimated that she also earns money, not much money. But Shang Yunjuan has real estate in Beijing, which is wealth. Lin Feng didn't know what kind of woman Shang Yunjuan was and what her living conditions were like, but he vaguely felt that Shang Yunjuan didn't seem to have a husband. Otherwise every time she collected rent or had something in the rental house, she wouldn't always go there in person. But there is another possibility. Shang Yunjuan's husband is a reporter in Iraq or North Africa, and it is rare to come back once. Lin Feng walked for more than half an hour, and then returned to his partition room. He sat on a chair and began to brew, intending to write a few thousand words in the afternoon. When he heard the knock on the door, he knew that Lu Xiona was here, and he began to feel depressed. If he wasn't worried that Lu Xiona would find dabbing to tell Bai Shan about him and Bai Shan, Lin Feng would not want to do it with her at all. If dabbing found out, if dabbing troubled him, he could easily beat dabbing to death, breaking his nose bridge with a punch, and then kicking him up again, breaking his sternum, causing him to vomit blood on the bottom. Hematuria. But in this case, he will hear a beeping sound, the police will take him away, and then the hammer in the presiding judge's hand will strike for him, and he will shock the circle of classmates and friends in a special way. Many people will sigh for him, and many people will shout after mentioning his name, "My go." Lu Xiona walked in wearing a short one-piece dress and smiled charmingly at Lin Feng, but Lin Feng could still tell at a glance that Lu Xiona was beaten last night. It must have been his boyfriend Zhao Xiaogang who hit her. It's hard to say why. Lu Xiona first asked Lin Feng to slap her face, and then asked her boyfriend to slap her face, but she was not depressed at all. She believed that one day, she would turn into a chicken head and many chickens would lay eggs for her. She may live in a luxury house and drive a luxury car. Lu Xiona moved the chair and sat next to Lin Feng, and said with relief, "I'm relieved, I'm a lot relieved all of a sudden." "You didn't break up with your boyfriend, did you?" "No, I actually love him very much, but I am loving him in a very special way. My body has betrayed him many times, but my heart has never betrayed him. If I had a girlfriend like you, I would have to strangle you," Lin Feng sneered. "Don't sneer at me, I hate men sneering at me the most, you are so cold and pretend to be a fart. Lin Feng, you are a literate person. You can't go out to work and write novels at home after graduating from college. Talent, but can you guarantee that your future girlfriend is not a black fungus? Maybe she is darker than me." Lu Xiaona was very sharp. Lin Feng was stunned. He really couldn't predict whether his future girlfriend was black fungus. Nowadays, there are very few people who don't do that. If a girl is in a relationship with a boy for a few months or a year or two, they will do it many times, and they may have an abortion. Maybe his future girlfriend is not a black fungus, but a very fresh woman. Maybe his future girlfriend will be a black fungus, and it is so dark that he can't bear to look at that part more, he just wants to put it in an exercise with his eyes closed. Lin Feng, it seems that I have stimulated you. Then I wish your future girlfriend is not black fungus. Even if it is, it will be a little fresher than me. Actually, fresh and dark are not necessarily related. Not dark, maybe not fresh, very dark, maybe especially fresh, black, just a color, not necessarily related to taste, Lin Feng said. I really want to write down what you just said and tell it to my sisters, so that they can sell it more confidently. Otherwise, I will call them up another day, and you will teach them a lesson, mainly about black fungus and black fungus. Is it related to the future life? You motherfucker. Look at you, you're still writing novels, and you're in a hurry. I'm not a young lady who can hold your breath. Why don't I teach you a lesson? Lu Xiaona laughed. Lin Feng's heart is messed up again. It seems that he can't write anything this afternoon. He really wants to live in a one-bedroom apartment. One bedroom. My boyfriend knew that I was a young lady. He slapped me and forgave me. His heart is really big. Of course, his heart is like the ocean. Don't insult the sea, Lin Feng said. I said to him, I want to be an ideal chicken, I want to slowly become a chicken head, and let me have a lot of chickens in my hands. It seems that this is Lu Xiaona's ideal, Lin Feng can only wish her to become a chicken head soon. Lu Xiaona lifted up her denim skirt and showed her fish white trousers in front of Lin Feng. Tonight I played a night with you. I used to have a night with other men. It was almost midnight, but it's different for you. Just start, if you are strong enough, you can come 5 or 6 times and I don't mind. Then you should wait until midnight. I do not. Lin Feng was a little depressed. Lu Xiaona wanted to serve him too much, what could he do? He promised Lu Xiaona that he would contribute 500 yuan to her, that is, 1 night and 2 solo trips. He intends to finish the task early so that he doesn't have to continue entanglement with Lu Xiaona. His interest is really not great. Okay, let's order first. Okay. Lu Xiaona sang happily, then took off her denim skirt, and soon she took off all her clothes. The moment she took off her trousers, she casually threw it onto the chair Lin Feng was sitting on while typing. Lin Feng felt a little unhappy in his heart. In the future, when he was about to sit on a chair and write a letter, he might think that the pants with the watch once flew on it. Lin Feng saw Lu Xiaona's plump and her wetness. He was surprised to find that Lu Xiaona's fungus was not particularly dark. It seems that you haven't been a young lady for a long time. It didn't take long, and I'm more wear resistant. You're a pullback card, Lin Feng said. What is the pullback card? I tell you, you don't understand either. Lin Feng also took off his clothes. When Lu Xiaona saw his thing, she immediately screamed, I'm going, I'm going. Lin Feng was indeed much taller and taller than Lu Xiaona's boyfriend Zhao Xiaogang, and Lu Xiaona began to admire him with greedy eyes. Lin Feng didn't have the desire to kiss Lu Xiaona, so he crawled onto her body, rushed into her body easily, and quickly moved. Lu Xiaona hugged Lin Feng's back tightly and shouted. She was intoxicated because Lin Feng was very fierce. After more than half an hour of intense enthusiasm, Lu Xiaona actually experienced 3 orgasms, once in less than 3 minutes, once in 20 minutes, and again at the end. So comfortable. You are so fierce. Facing Lu Xiaona's praise, Lin Feng felt a little unhappy. Get out of here. I'll be here tonight. Lu Xiaona walked out with enchanting steps. Lin Feng felt that it was time to write something. The more he wrote, the more money he could earn, but he was a little sleepy now. He came here with Lu Xiaona just now, which made him want to sleep very much. He turned off the computer in annoyance. It was all wet with Lu Xiaona just now, and he felt a sense of guilt in his heart. When he thought that many rich and big bosses like to go to nightclubs to find young ladies, the sense of guilt is not very strong. Some of those people are worth hundreds of millions or even billions, but their luxury cars often contain sitting with the senior ladies. Lai Yan and Li Qi always make them very happy. It would be a lie to say that he was unhappy at all. Just when he was with Lu Xiaona just now, his came violently. Lu Xiaona's bed skills are much higher than Bai Shan's, and she is very good at cooperating with him, so that every charge he charges is in place. Maybe it's the reason why he is still very new to Lu Xiaona's body, so I feel that Lu Xiaona is like a famous weapon. Maybe Zhao Xiaogang didn't have this feeling for a long time. He must feel that there are too many unsatisfactory parts of Lu Xiaona. No matter what kind of flowers are raised at home, home flowers will never have the fragrance of wild flowers. When separated from home flowers for a period of time, they will feel that home flowers are more fragrant. After breaking up for more than half a year, when a man enjoys the body of his ex-girlfriend in the mood of enjoying wild flowers, suddenly, she discovered that she was a famous weapon. Lin Feng first heard the sound of walking in the corridor outside, and soon heard a knock on the door. It won't be Lu Xiaona, but who is knocking on his door? Lin Feng opened the door and saw that it was his beautiful landlord. Shang Yunjuan smiled and walked in. Her high chest almost touched Lin Feng's arm, her hips were huge, and she twisted vigorously. Sister Shang, do you have something to do with me? Lin Feng was very puzzled, because it was not yet time to pay the rent. Many landlords charge 1 to 3 to collect the rent, but Shang Yunjuan is more open-minded. If he has no money, he can pay in a single month. Lin Feng naturally has the ability to pay 1 and 3, but he still chooses to pay in a single month, so that if when you want to move, you can flash people at any time. It's nothing, just come and have a look. I haven't been here for a few days, and I just came here today when I have time. Shang Yunjuan looked at Lin Feng's face in a special way. I came here after I came out of the hotel. Lin Feng met Shang Yunjuan during dinner, which means that when he and Lu Xiaona did that, Shang Yunjuan was in this house. She might be cleaning things in the bathroom or in the kitchen to check the gas, but she must have heard noises from his room. Lin Feng was very embarrassed. Shang Yunjuan's smile became a little hotter. She sat on the chair and did not continue to talk about the topic just now, but smiled. Can you read those novels on your mobile phone? Yes, it can be viewed on the mobile network. You can download the client or view it from the WAP web page. Tell me the address. Okay. Lin Feng sat next to Shang Yunjuan, and could smell the scent of her body clearly, both the scent of her skin and the scent of rose perfume. Lin Feng told Shang Yunjuan's mobile website and said, Sister Shang, you are really big. If there is no problem with your breast photos, then you are superb. Our big house is a bit chaotic. There are everyone, and people change frequently. It doesn't affect your creation, right? It has some influence. Actually, it's not a bad thing for you to have more contact with people. When you develop better, you can rent a bigger house. Yeah, I've been thinking about it. Have you ever thought about buying a house in Beijing? Seriously, I thought about it, but I just thought about it. It's too expensive. The down payment alone will cost more than 1 million yuan, and it's not easy for a freelancer like me to get a loan, Lin Feng said. With the down payment, the bank won't be afraid of what you owe. If you are in a hurry to accept your house, it's good to have an idea. If you have any difficulties, tell Sister Shang. I really like to help a diligent and idealistic person like you. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 7. Shang Yunjuan left, but her fragrance was still floating in Lin Feng's room, and her charm was still echoing in Lin Feng's mind. Some women in their 30s are like peaches, which can arouse strong desires in men. Shang Yunjuan is a very typical peaches. Superb woman. Lin Feng didn't think about what would happen to the beautiful landlord, but he was still stimulated. When Lin Feng was still in college, he met a little man who was fascinated by women in his 30s. At that time, Lin Feng often played football. He was a football fan. Like many other football fans, he had watched wonderful games. If the game is still not enjoyable, I will contact some people to play a ball. The boy everyone called him a fan was the same age as Lin Feng. When a fan was fascinated by a woman of about 35 years old, he was only 20 years old. It was an afternoon. After a game of football, it was drizzling, and a fan suddenly became sad. He asked Lin Feng to have dinner together. He wanted to treat him. Lin Feng and a fan have a good relationship. He thinks a fan is a very good goalkeeper. He will fall to the ground with a football at every turn. If a fan invites him, he has no reason not to go. After sitting in the small box of the hotel and drinking a few glasses of beer, a fan began to tell Lin Feng the story of him and the woman. A fan did not say who the woman was, but just said that the woman had gone abroad and went to Canada. A fan said that he and the woman met on the internet, and they met after chatting for almost 2 months. As soon as a fan saw the woman, he was fascinated by her beauty and charm. At that time, a fan's thing was always upright, and the woman's smile was always charming. A fan said that the woman's were very full, which made him want to throw her down and suck. The woman's voice was very sweet, like the chirping of birds in the jungle, and it must be a mother bird to make this kind of chirping. A fan said that he and the woman went to the park after eating the leopard self-help, and sat on the rockery in the park. The woman said she was tired, so she fell into his arms. That time he touched the woman's chest, but when he wanted to touch the wet place, the woman refused, grabbed his hand gently, and kissed his face. A fan said that he was very impulsive that time, his face was red, and he didn't chat with the woman online for more than a week after we separated. The woman called him, but he didn't answer. A fan said that a few days later, he and the woman met again, this time at the woman's house. The woman was wearing a thin night dress and no bust, but she was wearing shorts. The woman said, "A fan, you blame me." A fan said, "No." The woman said, "If you don't blame me, why are you ignoring me?" A fan said, "I ignore you because I haven't been online for a while." The woman said, "You are too immature, you can't even lie, since you go to the bathroom every day, then you go online every day, you see me online, or you know that when I'm invisible, your thing is hard, but you just don't message me." The woman's hand immediately touched a fan's object, and a fan's body gave a violent swipe. The woman said, "Do you want to me?" A fan said, "Think." The woman said, "Come on to me, then." A fan said, "Okay." The woman lay on her back on the sofa. A fan talked about her night dress, saw her plump body, sucked her chest and tore off her panties. A fan said that after tearing off the woman's panties, he didn't know where to put them. It was not suitable to throw them on the sofa, and it was even more inappropriate to put them on the coffee table. A fan said that later he simply pinched the woman's and rushed into her body. The softness and warmth made him so irritated that he almost erupted instantly. A fan said that he originally wanted to calm down before starting to move, but he was afraid that he would spray after 10 strokes, and the woman would make fun of him, but when he calmed down, the woman's hips and legs twisted. Afen said that he shouted before the girl shouted, he had never been so comfortable, he had to shout. Afen said that he didn't do it for a long time that time, less than 2 minutes at most. He doubted his ability a bit, but the woman said, there is no problem with your ability at all, I can see it at a glance. Afen said that the woman often asked him later, and his performance got better and better. When he became enthusiastic, the woman would guide him to poems or lyrics. The woman said, 2 little bees, Afen said, fly into the flowers, the woman said, fly to the west and fly to the east, Afen said, don't relax. The woman said that the pear flower yard melts the moon, and Afen said that the Katkan pond is lightly windy. The woman said that the flowers of the sunrise river are more red than the fire, and Afen said that in spring, the water of the river is as green as blue. Afen said that when the woman was with him, she was no longer her first daughter. She was a black fungus, and it was a bit dark, but when the woman went abroad, Afen would always think of her and think that any road the slender and graceful fungus may not be too dark for women who don't have enough flavor with that black fungus. Linfeng thought of Afen, and also thought of the words Afen said to him like intoxicated. At that time, he felt that Afen was ruined, Afen let that charming woman ruin it, but Afen was good later, he not only has with women in their 30s, but also women in their 20s, maybe he has with women in their 40s, now Afen has a girlfriend who is about his age and is getting married soon, Linfeng I plan to give Afen a gift when he gets married. Maybe it was because the monk Yunjuan talked about buying a house just now. Suddenly, Linfeng was no longer sleepy. He wanted to code again, so he sat on the chair and opened the document. The mechanical keyboard rang, and the plot was a bit stuck, but Linfeng's typing speed was not too slow. Linfeng is very devoted to the idea of the plot. He will not imitate others easily. He believes that there are many originality in life, and there will be a lot of originality when doing that. Maybe he will create poses that no one has ever used, and maybe he will be able to express anyone no sound was made. Before 9 o'clock in the evening, Luziona came over. She was wearing a short skirt and stockings. Her full held up the short skirt very high. Her slender legs were trembling slightly, and she smiled charmingly at Linfeng. Just now Linfeng was still thinking, Luziona had better wait until after 11 o'clock in the evening, but she still came early. Linfeng felt that Luziona wearing stockings was superfluous. The more she wore it, the more troublesome it would be to take it off, but he soon felt that Luziona was more attractive in stockings. You are so positive. Look at what you said, didn't I just want to stay with you for a while? We are neighbors, and I have a good impression of you. I want to make you feel more comfortable, Luziona said tenderly. Linfeng became depressed. If it wasn't for the fear that Luziona would find dabbing to tell him about Baishan, Linfeng would not want to play a night with her at all. Once a woman with special ideals like Luziona became crazy, she could do anything. Look, haven't I already you once? I gave you 100 yuan, and now I'll give you another 400 yuan, the night package is waived, and the remaining one-time alone is also waived, which is equivalent to me being fucked. You once gave you 500 yuan, right? Don't come here, if you are someone else, I won't blink an eye when I take advantage of you, but you are my neighbor, I can't count on you like that, I have to let you continue to play, if you cheat on a neighbor as good as you slippery, am I still a person? I want it myself, it's not you who plot against me, Linfeng said in his heart, you are a person, you are a woman, you are a very cheap woman. That's not okay. Luziona hugged Linfeng and kissed him on the face. Linfeng felt the softness of Luziona's body, and smelled her fragrance. The perfume she used was not too high-end, at most it was the most common one in the Dior brand, but it was very intoxicating. It seems that he can't dodge if he wants to. If he doesn't play enough times, he won't be able to pass the level. Linfeng can only turn off the computer and prepare to fight on the bed with Luziona. At this time, someone knocked on the door, and Lin Feng became nervous. Who is knocking on the door? Isn't it your boyfriend? Maybe it's him, but don't be afraid, he won't affect us, let alone hit you. Lu Xiaona looked very relaxed. Lin Feng was very ashamed. He was astonished, because Lu Xiaona could be so harmonious with Zhao Xiaogang as a young lady. He was not worried that Zhao Xiaogang would hit him. I am afraid that even the three Zhao Xiaogangs would not be his opponents. No matter who is right or who is wrong, as long as others do it first, he may fight back, and if others do not, he may also do it. Lin Feng opened the door, and it turned out to be Zhao Xiaogang. He was immediately embarrassed. He didn't know what to say to Zhao Xiaogang. After all, Lu Xiaona was in his room and it was night. Zhao Xiaogang walked in, smiled at Lin Feng, and quickly handed over another cigarette. Lin Feng didn't know whether to take Zhao Xiaogang's cigarette or not, but in the end he didn't, and said with an embarrassed smile, I just smoked it. Zhao Xiaogang picked up a cigarette himself, lit it, and took a sip. My girlfriend, she's pretty good, and she has a good impression of you. You two play slowly, I don't have any opinion. Lin Feng's face turned a little red. He doesn't know how many men in this world are Zhao Xiaogang's type. Even if his girlfriend sells outside, he doesn't mind at all, and he is very polite to the man who plays with her girlfriend's body. According to the calculation of the world's population, the proportion will not be too high, but if the base is large, the number of people will not be too small. Dude, don't be embarrassed, if you pay, you can play. Play hard. Zhao Xiaogang took the key from Lu Xiaona's hand and went out. Lin Feng immediately frowned and looked at Lu Xiaona. Your boyfriend is here, go accompany her, let's forget it, I'll give you the remaining 400 yuan. Lin Feng took out the 400 yuan prepared in advance from his wallet and handed it to Lu Xiaona. What made him depressed was that Lu Xiaona didn't pick up the money. She had already started to take it off. First, she took off her stockings, then twisted her soft body to take off her short skirt and threw it on the chair. Lin Feng saw large areas of snow-white skin and uneven curves. When Lu Xiaona took off her panties, Lin Feng saw the outline of her part. Lin Feng had already had a relationship with Lu Xiaona once. He knew that Lu Xiaona, who was a young lady, was actually a famous weapon. Maybe as more people used her body continuously, she would gradually become less famous. 10,000 men will still be famous in the future, and she will be famous for a lifetime. She is very skilled in bed, and she is very good at cooperating with men. It is very cool to do that with her. The reason why many men with money, status, and wives still like to play with young ladies is not because home flowers are not as fragrant as wildflowers, but because young ladies can bring them extraordinary stimulation and can make their original impulses completely swept away. Venting. Lu Xiaona, I beg you, you really hurry up and get dressed and go. I'm really not that evil, your boyfriend is next door, I can't be with you. He doesn't care. But I care, Lin Feng said coldly. When Lu Xiaona saw that Lin Feng's face was so red, she felt a sense of accomplishment, and she actually touched herself. Really burnt? Really waves? Lin Feng had never seen a girl who could burn to the level of Lu Xiaona before. Lin Feng really wanted to get on a special rostrum, waving his fists and shouting to the hundreds of millions of men in the audience, it's terrifying for women to burn. Then all the men under the rostrum would look at him with solemn eyes and burst into thunderous applause. Lu Xiaona was lying on her back on the bed, sometimes she raised her head, sometimes she arched her body, and she kept winking at Lin Feng. Without my windburn, I would not be able to bring out other people's modesty, without my depravity, I would not be able to bring out others' modesty. I don't pollute the environment, I don't waste resources, I don't cause any trouble for this society, I have that thing, and I just want to exchange that thing for money. The only way to make Lu Xiaona not burn in his room is to her. I'm sorry, Zhao Xiaogang, I'm going to your girlfriend again, because you are lying in the next room, I will use less effort, I won't let your girlfriend cry too loudly. Lin Feng could only take off all his clothes, crawled on Lu Xiona's body, and rushed into her body. Oh be energetic. The two fiery bodies swayed, but at this time, what echoed in Lin Feng's mind was Zhao Xiaogang's weird smile. Lin Feng didn't use too much force, but Lu Xiona's cry was still so happy, I'm afraid Zhao Xiaogang in the next room had heard it. Zhao Xiaogang was lying on the bed smoking a cigarette. He did hear it. He heard the sound of body hitting, and also heard his girlfriend's cry. Dear, you are paying, dear, we will get better and better, when you become a chicken head, when I have my own barber shop, we eat well, dress well, drive a car, live well, and waste together. 3 in the morning. Until now, Lin Feng has only done it once. Since it is a night, as long as he has sufficient physical strength, he can do it as many times as he wants, but he really doesn't want to do it, even if he has an orgasm, he doesn't want to do it. When he was a college student, when he longed for pure love, he never thought that he would fall into the state after graduation. Now it is not that he wants to fall, but someone else is forcing him to fall. If it wasn't for the relationship with Bai Shan, maybe there would be nothing in the future, but Bai Shan decided to give him her first daughter's body, and then become the lover of the flatbread. He was really cool, he made Bai Shan bleed. At this time, he was also relieved, and he attacked Lu Xiona's body thousands of times. Handsome guy, come quickly, Bao Ye, don't waste your time, I'll leave when it's dawn. It's already bright that day, let's go, but it's not yet dawn, I'm not paving roads or building bridges, I won't cut corners, I want you to have enough fun. What kind of spirit is this? This is a spirit of dedication, a spirit of being a watchman and not afraid of making mistakes. Lin Feng still didn't press on Lu Xiona again. Lu Xiona shouted, I said, handsome man, what's the matter with you? She immediately rode on Lin Feng's body, and took the initiative to let Lin Feng rush into her body, and then twisted violently as if venting her anger, and then she became more rhythmic. Zhao Xiaogang heard the sound again, and he immediately pricked up his ears. This should be the second time. Until dawn, Lin Feng and Lu Xiona came 3 times, the first time it was Lin Feng who took the initiative, after all, he crawled onto Lu Xiona's body, but Lu Xiona took the initiative for the next 2 times. Lu Xiona returned to her and Zhao Xiaogang's room. Zhao Xiaogang immediately hugged Lu Xiona and said in a low voice, you are tired. I made another 300. We will make more and more money. When I get to the barber shop, I will give people a haircut. Let's go, I'll go eat early. I've been tossing around all night. I'm tired and hungry. Let's eat some buns and drink some bean curd, and come back and have a good sleep. Would you like to get your Oxford Dictionary? Take it, I can't let the breakfast eaters look down on me. Lu Xiona picked up the thick dictionary and walked out with Zhao Xiaogang. The next one could not be avoided. In the end, Lu Xiona forced Lin Feng and her to do it again. In this way, she earned Lin Feng's 500 yuan. At this time, Lin Feng no longer thought about whether the 500 yuan was worth it, and he was about to collapse. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 8. Today is a cloudy day, it seems that it is about to rain. Lin Feng is not a depressed person. On the contrary, he is a very sunny person, but he also likes rainy days. I like rain probably because rain is wet and people are also wet. Rain can wet the earth, and people can wet pants. Compared with the earth, pants are nothing, so the rain is stronger than people. Lin Feng opened the glass window and went out to see that the light rain had fallen. He planned to go out for a walk if it was a particularly light rain, he would not need to bring an umbrella, but he still brought an umbrella because the rain could be heavy at any time. Possible. Lin Feng doesn't like to suddenly make himself passive, although he often makes himself passive in life. Lin Feng really wanted to wave his fists and hit anyone he wanted, but he couldn't touch some people. Lin Feng wanted to abuse anyone he wanted, but he couldn't speak to some people. Lin Feng walked to the street. He went to the smoke shop first, bought a purple cloud, and then walked onto the overpass. The rain was still sparse, and the people on the overpass were in a hurry. Lin Feng soon saw a very beautiful girl who was walking with graceful steps. She has a beautiful face, big eyes, a high nose bridge, letter-like lips, a slender and graceful figure, a great temperament, and a bit arrogant. Lin Feng just glanced at the beautiful woman and then looked away. He didn't want to leave a very rogue impression on the people walking on the street. Maybe they would never see each other again. No one knew who was who, everyone was a passerby to everyone, but soon something happened. A very wretched person walked over to the girl quickly and turned out to be a thief. The man's stealing skills are very high, and can easily clip the phone out of the girl's jeans pocket. Lin Feng hesitated. Should I remind the beauty that her cell phone was stolen? If he reminded, would he cause trouble? Lin Feng can only guarantee that he will not steal. He has never stolen a piece of candy since he was a child, but it is very difficult for him to stop others from stealing. He has never reminded others when he saw thieves in the bus or subway station before, because those who were caught, the person who stole has nothing to do with him. He didn't try to steal, so he is worthy of those people. If those people shouted at him, "Why didn't you tell me when you saw it?" he could call back, "Why?" But this time, Lin Feng was very resentful, because that wretched man was already warning him with his eyes, as if he was saying, "If you dare to make a sound, I will kill you." Taking advantage of the instant the thief was about to escape, Lin Feng rushed over, stretched his legs and tripped him to the ground, hitting his chest with a kick. The thief screamed and almost vomited out the contents of his stomach. Lin Feng felt that the other party was a thief anyway, so even if he beat him a few more times, as long as it didn't cause minor injuries, even if the police came, he would be fine. Lin Feng's foot kicked the thief's face again. He kicked his side face and slammed his foot. The corner of the thief's mouth was bloody. Don't do anything to break the bridge of his nose, so as not to provoke him. Trouble. The beauty was stunned. She actually came over and shouted at Lin Feng, "What's the matter with you? How can you beat someone?" She is still a girl with a sense of justice, and Lin Feng has a more favorable impression of her. He is a thief who stole your love, crazy. Ah! My cell phone. The beauty touched her trousers pocket, and the phone really disappeared. Bastard, give me back my phone. Lin Feng took out the mobile phone from the thief's bag and gave it back to the beauty. He smiled and said, "Let's go quickly, I'm leaving too." At this time, 4 people came up from the 2 ends of the overpass. Lin Feng and the beautiful woman could see that these people were all accomplices of thieves. The silver-white bun at the bottom of the overpass should be their escape tool. The beauty panicked, and she was going to call the police. The 4 people rushed over when they saw that the beauty was about to press the phone. "Ah! Help!" The beauty shouted and jumped into Lin Feng's arms. Lin Feng immediately hugged the beauty. "Don't panic, there is me." He didn't want to be a hero, but the beauty was already attached to him. At this time, Lin Feng was very angry. His thing was as angry as his heart, and his thing hit the girl's belly. Just now, the beautiful woman's chest slammed into his body, but Lin Feng couldn't think about it. There was already a man grabbing a dagger and stabbing him, aiming at his arm. Lin Feng raised his leg and kicked the dagger in the man's hand, and then kicked him in the stomach again. The man screamed and fell to the ground. 2 more people rushed over. Lin Feng punched one of them on the bridge of the nose, and kicked the other on the waist again. He pulled the beauty and ran away. Among the thief's accomplices, there was another capable man, but he didn't dare to chase after him. The young man who was a beautiful woman obviously knew Kung Fu. The one who was injured the most was the guy who was hit by Lin Feng's punch to the bridge of his nose. The bridge of his nose was broken and he was bleeding. Lin Feng also didn't know where to drag the beauty to, so he could only run towards the community where he lived. The beauty was still panicking. She didn't break free from Lin Feng's hand, so she let Lin Feng pull him to run. She walked into the door of the unit and asked, "Hey, where are you taking me?" "Yes." "Where is he going to take the beauties? Should he take them to the partition room he rented?" "Forget it, anyway, he didn't have any idea of taking the opportunity to have something to do with the beauty, even though this beauty is very good. You don't seem to be in any danger anymore, and your mobile phone is not lost. You can go, I'll go back too." Only then did Lin Feng think that he bought a cigarette just now, but now that cigarette is gone, it is estimated that he lost it during the fight with the thief. The whole Ziyun disappeared, and he lost more than 90 yuan, but he didn't mean to ask the beauty to buy him cigarettes. "I'm leaving." "Do you rent a room?" "I don't look like someone who can afford a house in Beijing, but I'm talking about now." Lin Feng felt that there was no need to emphasize anything to the beauties, but he did. "How many floors?" "The third floor. On the third floor of this unit, only my sister's house is rented." "Is your landlord Shang Yunjuan?" "Could it be that this beauty is Shang Yunjuan's sister?" Lin Feng still doesn't know if Shang Yunjuan has a younger sister. "You are." "I'm Shang Yunjuan's younger sister, Shang Yuna." "That's such a coincidence. I rented your sister's house. It seems that I helped you today. In fact, I saw a thief before, but I pretended not to." "Look, you're a very good person, and you're good at Kung Fu. How can you pretend you haven't seen a thief when you see it?" "I'm afraid of causing trouble," Lin Feng said. Shang Yuna smiled, thinking to herself, "You are so honest, you are a very realistic person, and you are also very smart." Lin Feng and Shang Yuna went upstairs together. Shang Yuna frowned when she arrived at the partition room where Lin Feng lived. The quilt was not folded, the bed was messy, there were several empty cigarette boxes on the computer table that wasn't too big, and the notebook was followed by a mechanical keyboard that was slightly larger than a normal keyboard. Really, I don't know how to clean it up. Although the rented house is not very good, I live by myself. It's messy enough. In fact, I also like to be clean, but I've been lazy these past 2 days," Lin Feng said with a smile. "Forget it, I'm here to help you clean up. I'll repay you for helping me get my phone back, otherwise I'll lose thousands." Shang Yuna began to help Lin Feng fold the quilt. Lin Feng felt that the most important thing in this partition room was the bed, but Shang Yuna had already started to tidy up from the bed. Shang Yuna soon smelled a very special smell. It should be the smell of a woman's body, and also the smell of perfume. "Your girlfriend lives with you?" "I don't have a girlfriend." "Oh." Shang Yuna didn't continue to ask, she already understood that if there is no girlfriend but the room is feminine, that is to find a one-night kiss or a young lady. Single young people can't help but panic, and it's not a big deal to find a woman to vent. Shang Yuna understands that this kid is not her boyfriend anyway. "My sister said that one of her tenants wrote online novels, and they did a good job. Could it be you?" "It's me," Lin Feng said with a smile. "It's really you, it looks like you're very talented," Shang Yuna thought. "It's not as simple as looking for a young lady. My sister is reading an urban novel you wrote, I'll read it when I look back. A lot of support. It's best to leave a message to support me." Lin Feng didn't say anything about supporting genuine subscriptions, lest the landlord's sister think he wants to make her money. Shang Yuna helped Lin Feng clean up the computer desk and brought a broom and dustpan over. After cleaning the ground, she smiled and said, "Your computer and keyboard are also dirty. Cherry mechanical keyboards are not cheap, so be careful." It seemed that Shang Yuna would not continue to wipe his computer and keyboard for him. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Thank you. Then I'll go first." Shang Yuna left. Lin Feng sat on the chair, his heart pounded, and if the purple cloud he just bought was lost, he had even more reason to take the soft china that Bai Shan gave him. I picked one up and smoked it. Under the stimulation of nicotine, I couldn't help but think about it. I didn't expect the beautiful landlord to have a beautiful sister with a beautiful face and a hot body. Judging from her appearance, she was a very cultural person. If she didn't look wrong, she should still have a good job. Shang Yuna and Shang Yunjuan lived together in a two-bedroom apartment, about 6 kilometers away from the three-bedroom apartment that was rented out with partitions. The reason why Shang Yuna passed by the rental apartment was because she was in the nearby Beijing Normal University. University work, now is the holiday, but a female colleague approached her to complain. Shang Yuna sat on the sofa, dialed Shang Yunjuan's phone, and said coquettishly, "Sister, aren't you trying to treat me with dumplings? Why haven't you come back yet? Little sister, I'm afraid I won't be able to eat the dumplings. I've got a banner job, and I'm in a hurry to get it. I'm so busy, I don't have time to make the dumplings." "Tell you something?" "You say." Shang Yuna told her that Lin Feng helped her recover the phone and then beat up the thief. Shang Yunjuan was stunned. She didn't expect that Lin Feng could not only write online novels, but also his kung fu so well. If there is no Lin Feng, the little sister's mobile phone will definitely be lost. I am afraid it will be distressed for a long time. That is 32G love crazy, it is not enough to buy it for half a year. Then I really have to thank Lin Feng. Why don't I make dumplings in the evening and invite Lin Feng to eat together?" "No problem," Shang Yuna said with a smile. "Lin Feng can think that the beautiful landlord will soon know about his heroic deeds, and maybe he will express that he will let her buy 2 cigarettes at that time. It doesn't need to be too good, and the soft bag yuxi will do. If the beautiful landlord and Jiao Mei's sister didn't intend to buy him cigarettes, that's fine, he wouldn't take the initiative." It was almost evening. Lin Feng was sitting in the partition room writing a novel. His cell phone rang, and when he saw the call was the beautiful landlord, what flashed in his mind was a charming smile and a plump body. "Sister Shang, are you looking for me?" "You're fine, you can call me. I'll help my sister. I'll drive to pick you up later, and invite you over to eat dumplings." "No need, it's just a little effort." "You don't like to eat dumplings. The skin is thin and the filling is big, do you like them?" "I love to eat." Lin Feng felt that the beautiful landlord seemed to be teasing him, because he had seen someone describe a woman's body with thin skin and big stuffing before. It seems that he really won't buy cigarettes for him. He wants to save money on cigarettes. It's not bad to eat dumplings. He likes them very much. I wonder if the dumplings made by Shang Yunjuan and Shang Yuna will have their bodies scent. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 9. Evening. The rain has stopped, and the ground is wet. Some people are driving their cars to show their enthusiasm, some are shaking in the bus, and some are walking briskly on the side road. The pace of the city is fast, and the pace of people in the city is fast. Shang Yuna was making dumplings at home, and Shang Yunjuan drove her board to pick up Lin Feng. Shang Yunjuan was wearing a denim skirt and high-heeled sandals. She sat in the driver's seat in a chic posture, and her long, plump legs were more curvy. Lin Feng sat in the passenger seat, smelled the rose perfume, glanced at Shang Yunjuan's bent legs, and then looked elsewhere. "You are really a good boy. Not too bad. Look at your modesty. You helped my sister. I'll treat you to a good drink. I have a bottle of Dream Blue at home. I've never been willing to drink it. Let's drink it together today." The most expensive wine Lin Feng ever drank in the past was more than 100 yuan a bottle. He drank it during a university dinner. He had never drunk a bottle of hundreds of yuan a bottle of wine. The advertisement of Mingjilan is quite fierce. Yes, maybe it's really good. Lin Feng wouldn't mention the fact that he lost a Ziyun, that would make him seem very incompetent. Seeing Shang Yuna again soon, Lin Feng was a little nervous. Shang Yuna's appearance was no worse than Lin Feng's girlfriend in college. She was the type with a beautiful face and a slender figure, and Shang Yuna also had a pair of Danfan's eyes, flickering, can make the man go into spasms. Lin Feng didn't twitch in front of Shang Yuna, he was good. Lin Feng likes girls with this appearance very much. It would be great if the beautiful landlord could match him with Shang Yuna. Men always like to think about beautiful things. At this time, Lin Feng thought a lot, but nothing showed on his face. Arrive. Lin Feng found that this 2-bedroom apartment is much smaller than the 3-bedroom apartment that was rented out. The building area is estimated to be over 60 square meters, and it is very old. It is estimated that this community has been around for nearly 30 years. The two sisters rented out the 3-bedroom house, which had been completed for only a few years, as a partition. It was just to get some rent, and they were not very rich. Although they were locals with 2 houses, as long as they didn't sell it, they couldn't get it. Even if you get cash, it will not become a capital to enjoy, but it is much better than a house slave with a low salary. Big hero, you're here. Shang Yuna, who was sitting on the coffee table making dumplings, said tenderly. Hurry up and stop calling me a hero, or I won't even be embarrassed to eat dumplings. Lin Feng sat on the sofa. Shang Yunjuan brought a cigarette, a $10 little panda. She gave one to Lin Feng, lit one by herself, and then threw the cigarette case on the coffee table, smiling. I'm very busy today, so I didn't go to buy one. Pack a cigarette for you. It's all right, don't you want to drink Dream Blue later? Sister Shang, you are already very interesting to me. I really know how to talk. Shang Yunjuan sat beside Lin Feng, and the aroma of her body surrounded Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't deliberately appreciate Shang Yunjuan's beauty, but out of the corner of his eyes he still saw Shang Yunjuan's legs that were joined together, and the denim skirt hid a plump spring light. Lin Feng, which school did you graduate from? Shang Yuna asked. An out-of-town university, Yanzhou University of Science and Technology. Have you heard of it? Of course I've heard of it. Your reputation in Huaxia is not bad. Which major are you? Economics. How about you? I graduated from the Chinese department of Beijing Normal University. Later, I went to graduate school in this school. Now I am staying at the school to teach, and I am a teacher in the Chinese department. That's really good. It's all right, a girl, it's good to be a teacher. You earn enough money to spend on yourself, and there are enough vacations. I'm curious, how did you think of writing online novels? Lin Feng liked to read online novels very much when he was in college, and he also liked it very much, so he came up with the idea of writing online novels after his unsatisfactory work. Later, it was actually written, and it took him more than a year to enter the ranks of online writers. He is considered a newcomer in this industry. Now his buyout price is also very low, 25 yuan per 1,000 words. If you write 300,000 words a month, you can get more than 6,000 after tax. If you only pay more than 200,000 words, that is 4,000 to 5,000 yuan. However, in the online writer industry, there are also many people who can make money. There are people who make millions or even tens of millions a year. Lin Feng also hopes that he can develop better on this road. Knowing his situation, Shang Yuna smiled and said, when you post it, you can buy a house in Beijing. That's what happens in the future. I definitely don't have that ability now. My parents are ordinary people, and I can only rely on myself. Lin Feng can cook some simple dishes, but not when it comes to pasta. He can't make noodles or dumplings. The dumplings he squeezed are ugly, so he won't be ugly, waiting to eat ready-made ones. Shang Yunjuan went to order the dumplings. Shang Yuna brought a cold drink over, sat next to Lin Feng, and said with a smile, I will introduce a girlfriend to you. What do you like? It's hard to say, it just works. Actually, there is no need to be very beautiful. The more beautiful a woman is, the easier it is to get out of the wall. It's very troublesome. People are the most important thing. In fact, this is a question that even dogs know, but a man likes his women to be more beautiful, and the remaining women generally go to extremes. They are too beautiful to pick up their eyes, and the fungus is black but single. No tools were found, except to dye with charcoal. In addition to this, there is another possibility, that is, playing the love game too much, and after all the contacts are separated, there will be no more. How old are you? 25, Linfeng said. One of my colleagues is a 30-year-old with a postgraduate diploma. He is not tall and looks average, but he is very nice. If you are interested, I will build a bridge for you, Shang Yuna said. Linfeng felt terrified. Although he hasn't found a girl that makes his heart move, he hasn't fallen to the point where he has to find a leftover girl 5 years older than him to be his girlfriend. Although he hasn't seen that woman yet, he can hear Shang Yuna say so. Knowing, not much better, the only thing desirable is a job, a teacher with a postgraduate diploma. Linfeng is very realistic, but he is still a little fanciful in his heart. The woman mentioned by Shang Yuna is not his type. I'll find it myself. I'm not happy. Forget it. I don't think it's suitable. After all, she is 5 years older than you, but she told me that she wanted to find a younger sister so that she could experience the feeling of being a sister. Is it fun to be a sister? Linfeng laughed and didn't say anything on this topic, but said in his heart, she wants to be a sister, but I'm not happy to be her brother. I've dated someone else's lover, I've been a lady, and my job is not stable. But that's what I'm doing. I'm very low-key, so I won't let you see it. At this time, Linfeng no longer thought about whether it was possible for him to be with Shang Yuna. Maybe there are many beautiful teachers in Beijing Normal University, but Shang Yuna is most likely the most beautiful, and Shang Yuna has no relationship with him at all. What he meant by that direction. After the hero saves the beauty, the probability of the beauty falling in love with the hero is very low in reality. The beauty may run away, or it may take a very simple way to express her gratitude. It is very complicated. If you want the saved beauty to become your own woman, unless you rescue it from the sea of fire, the smoke is billowing into the sky, the hero shouts, "Don't be afraid, I'm here," and then I rushed in, burned my hair and eyebrows. She lost her skin and ran out with the beauty in her arms. Then there was an explosion more than 20 meters away. The hero and the beauty fell to the ground together. The hero pressed down on the beauty and covered her chest in a protective posture, exclaiming in shock, "It's too dangerous." Linfeng would hardly rush to the sea of fire to save people, unless it was his relatives and friends in the sea of fire, and the others were left to the firefighters, so this kind of thing almost never happened to him. Dumplings are ready. Served with several cold vegetables, beef, peanuts mixed with celery, luncheon meat, duck neck, and cold shredded potatoes. Shang Yunjuan came over with the bottle of Dream Blue, smiled and said, "Linfeng, if there are dumplings to eat, I just made a few cold dishes. If you want to eat fried vegetables, I will fry them. On a hot day, cold dishes are very good. I like dumplings very much. When I look at these dumplings, they are very fragrant. Come on, I'll clip it for you." Shang Yuna used those specially prepared chopsticks to put several dumplings in Linfeng's vinegar bowl. Shang Yunjuan poured wine into the glass and raised her glass. "Come on, touch one, it's the first time the three of us have eaten together, toast to the heroic toast of a great writer." After clinking glasses, Linfeng took a sip of Dream Blue and tasted it carefully. This wine is not bad, after all, there is a price on it, but Linfeng has a lot of opinions on what the beautiful landlord just said. "It must be the first time we have eaten together. I used to want to eat your dumplings, and you will not bring me to your house. I am just your tenant. As for the future, I am afraid there will be few such opportunities. My sister can't always thank me. A meal of dumplings and a bottle of good wine will thank me all at once, and I won't repeat it in the future. Can we talk about love? I am afraid there is no play. Sisters Shang Yunjuan and Shang Yuna can both have some drinks, and Lin Feng can also drink white wine. The three of them solved a bottle of Dream Blue during this meal. When sitting on the sofa and watching TV, the two sisters chatted, and there was basically nothing to do with Lin Feng. Although Shang Yuna's smile was always bright and she was very enthusiastic towards him, Lin Feng still felt a kind of arrogance. It was a kind of arrogance that distanced each other. Shang Yuna is very beautiful, with a local huakao, and has a golden job that is very suitable for girls. Although she is 27 years old this year, she still has the potential to catch golden turtles. I am afraid that what she is thinking of now is a handsome and burly man, a high-end villa, a luxurious mount. When doing that, you can do that on a bed of 100,000, or on the mahogany floor, and you can buy 3 or 5 Louis when you go shopping. Vuitton bags, pigeon eggs and diamond rings are thrown around casually. Lin Feng felt a little uncomfortable, glanced at the time, and said with a smile, I should go back, I have something else to do. Oh, let's go now, let's watch TV, Shang Yunjuan said. No. Then I'll take it to you. No need to send it, it's not far, I'll find a car myself, Lin Feng said with a smile. I'll take it to you. The beautiful landlord and Lin Feng walked out together. Shang Yuna looked at the backs of the two of them, but pursed her lips and smiled. At this moment, what she thought was that her sister has never had a man since that failed marriage. I'm afraid I have long wanted to do that with a man. In the past, when Shang Yuna and her sister were chatting, she said, Sister, after so long, you don't want to do it at all. Why don't you spend money to find one from the hotel, oh, or you can buy one that is both strong and cheap, Shang Yunjuan always said, I don't need you to worry about it, but she really thinks about men too much. In the eyes of Shang Yuna, a university teacher, Lin Feng, the hero who helped her recover her mobile phone, was not qualified to have a romantic relationship with her, but she could still be her sister's lover. On the way to drive Lin Feng, Shang Yunjuan didn't talk much, but she always had a very special smile on the corner of her mouth, a very shallow smile but very charming. Nurturing the plumpness and aroma all the way, Lin Feng finally returned to his partition room. After sitting on the chair and smoking a cigarette, he suddenly felt as if he had never been anywhere, eating dumplings in his stomach and drinking to his stomach. The good wine in it all seems very ethereal. The size of the partition room was very small, which made him feel depressed. It was a kind of depression that wanted to rush out suddenly. He would not jump off the building. He could only sit on a chair, or he could lie on the bed or go to the corridor to listen. As soon as I heard it, there were surging sounds from several rooms. Lu Ziona is not here, she is busy in the KTV box of the hotel. A man in his 50s is touching her chest and singing with his upside down, warming my heart, sticking to my liver, shaking my ambition, muster my courage. The night package has been negotiated. The old man will take him to the hotel room and promise to give her 600 yuan. Lu Ziona is very happy. Bai Shan and Dabbing had already fallen asleep. The not so big thing, Dabbing, put it in Bai Shan's wet place and didn't want to come out. They both fell asleep and moved from time to time. Every time Bai Shan was about to fall asleep. When the pie moves like this, she wakes up. Depressed, Bai Shan finally turned over and let De Bing break away from her body, and De Bing raised her head and started snoring. Bai Shan thought of Lin Feng, she felt that it was still fun to do that with Lin Feng, every action was in place, making her cry in comfort. Peach Youth. Author, Sci-fi. Chapter 10. After a while, Lin Feng got the manuscript fee again, this time not as much as last time, because he wrote less, and the money he got was less than 5,000 yuan, but he still saved 2,500 yuan. Although the price was rising, but the deposit was a little more, still give him a sense of accomplishment. Lin Feng also wants to invest and wants to keep his banknotes increasing in value, but he has no way. With his current savings, it is not worth investing. It must be enough to set up a stall on the overpass. He even has the strength to be on the overpass. There are several stalls set up, but he is not that addicted. The card specially prepared by Lin Feng already had nearly 30,000 in savings. The female classmate who was with him in Beijing encouraged him to invest in stocks together, but he declined. Lin Feng never thought that he was lucky enough to rely on stock speculation. Once he entered the stock market, he would probably only have his life locked up. Lin Feng has dozens of classmates in Beijing. Among them, there are brothers and sisters, some are in the same class as him, and there is even a female classmate in the same class, that is, the girl who encouraged Lin Feng to invest in stocks, called Wang Wei. Wang Wei earned more than 80,000 yuan from stock trading, but she lost her money in less than a month by playing the warrants. She was so distressed that Lin Feng was really afraid that something would happen to her, so she went to comfort her and drank a lot of wine together. Wang Wei is a very beautiful girl. She is not as good looking as Lin Feng's previous girlfriend, but she can also be classified as a beauty. After all, beauty is not in a narrow sense, and her figure is also very good. Her are round and her legs are slender, very charming. From the bottom of my heart, Lin Feng really wanted something to happen with Wang Wei. After all, once a man is lonely, he will have his own thoughts. From a friend's point of view, she is very Lin Feng. When Lin Feng was unemployed as a writer, she even lent Lin Feng 3,000 yuan and said that she would pay it back to me in the future, if not, it would be fine. However, he never talked to him about the topic of love between men and women. It was that time when we drank a lot of wine together. Lin Feng tried to hug her, but he was pushed away in an instant, and then he reluctantly touched her butt. 1. Almost got slapped in the face. Later, he taunted Lin Feng on QQ, saying that Lin Feng was not at ease and would not invite him to play at home in the future. If he wanted to meet for dinner, he would go to the company to find her. It's been half a year since that incident, and Wang Wei really didn't invite him to go to the house. Occasionally chat on QQ, and she didn't mean to meet for dinner. Lin Feng occasionally resented her in his heart, but he still hoped that the female classmate could find a good man in the future and live the kind of happy life that women like very much. Not only must there be love to do, but also a house to live in and a car to drive. Bai Shan has not contacted Lin Feng during this time, but Lin Feng occasionally thinks of the woman who has become a pie lover. He has no love for Bai Shan at all, but he has obtained Bai Shan's first daughter after all. There is a desire between Lin Feng and Bai Shan, and it is suitable to vent each other. Lin Feng is not so high-minded that he thinks that all his friends should be great people. There can also be women in his circle of friends who can be lovers, so he should be Bai Shan is a friend. In the relationship in college, Lin Feng only touched the wet part of his girlfriend. That time, he experienced softness and warmth. After playing with it for a long time, his girlfriend said fiercely to him, "Your kid's fingers are too evil, and they broke me film, I chopped off your finger." At that time, Lin Feng thought it was cute for his girlfriend to say that, but now that she thinks about it, she said that out of selfishness. She was afraid that he would damage the membrane, but she just didn't want to have a result with him. But who is not selfish? You are not selfish, you give me all your family's money, and then I donate a little more selflessly. So don't blame anyone. Lin Feng has long been relieved of his ex-girlfriend. Now that woman is on good terms with the rich man. It is said that the two went to Shenzhen City together, and I don't know how they got along, but that woman has nothing to do with him anymore. After lunch, Lin Feng was walking on the nearby streets and felt that it was not enough. He has felt this way more than once. Beijing is so big that people are flustered. There are too many fun places and too many bustling places. But most of his activities seem to be in this street. It's better to go to a place a little further away, to appreciate the prosperity of the city can enhance the fighting spirit. Lin Feng chose to take the bus. He took a bus with the terminal more than 20 kilometers away, and planned to take the bus to the terminal and then take it back. Enjoy the scenery along the way. If you go shopping in a commercial street, you will inevitably spend money. The best way to reduce expenses is to try to avoid seeing the things you want to buy. Lin Feng sat on the bus and admired the scenery through the car window all the way. High-rise buildings, busy traffic, beautiful figures, wretched footsteps, different figures have different pursuits. When you see short skirts and think about trousers, when you see trousers, you imagine Daowen, and when you look at the roadside, you can't see Daowen. When a woman sees the shape of a man's pants, she will also imagine what size the man is. The secret of men wearing jeans is not to raise them too high, so as to give loose space to the eggs and make them appear spherical. His cell phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. He picked it up suspiciously. "Hello, who are you looking for?" "Is it Lin Feng?" "It's me, who are you?" "I'm Sun Yueling, Shang Yuna's female colleague. She said she had already told you about my situation, and she also said that you really want to get in touch. Look, I'll contact you now." Lin Feng was in a good mood at first, but he became depressed in an instant. Isn't Shang Yuna taking revenge? You don't want to fall in love with me, and I didn't take the opportunity to pursue you, but you can't pour the leftovers into my bowl. Lin Feng has not seen what this 30-year-old graduate student who has not found a boyfriend looks like, and it is impossible to slander her with his style. "I'm so sorry, my classmate has something to do, let me go to him. I'm afraid I won't have time to see you today." "It's all right, I can wait. Why don't I find you at night?" It seems that this leftover female graduate student is crazy about men. The first meeting will be at night. It is impossible for Lin Feng to say that he wants to live in a classmate's house, and he has no time at night, so he can only agree. Although his mood was affected, Lin Feng still insisted on sitting at the terminal, strolled on the nearby road, bought 2 glass products, one for an ashtray and one for a plate, and then got on the bus to prepare to return. He originally planned to go out for a stroll, but he still spent an extra 20 yuan. The ashtray he bought was very beautiful, and he would use it when he went back. The return journey was a bit congested. When he got off the bus, it was time for dinner. He ate the braised eggplant rice bowl by the way, and then returned to the partition room. Sitting on the chair, what Lin Feng thought was that one day, I would buy a suite in Beijing. The decoration would be more beautiful, and a large screen LCD TV would be built. He even thought about what to buy for the sofa, but when he got to him, when I can buy a house, I may sit on the sofa from time to time. It may be popular to sit on a small chair or on the ground, the fashion is being renovated, and it may return to its original state at any time. If the abominable ex-girlfriend who abandoned him comes to Beijing and wants to see the new house he bought, then let her come. The reason why Lin Feng thinks this way is because of his style of doing things. People who don't get along with each other. But no matter what the situation is in the future, he can't let the woman who abandoned him be his girlfriend again. If she can't get along, then lend her some money, but this is very small, because the woman's my boyfriend's house has a big supermarket, and there are still tens of millions. Maybe he can't make tens of millions from writing online novels in his life. Maybe Lao Tzu also has the possibility of being rich. After all, life is still going on, and various situations can happen. Lao Tzu writes a novel and hits billions of dollars. Lao Tzu gets a script and sells it to Feng Xiaogang. Maybe when Lao Tzu writes a good script, Feng Xiaogang stopped making movies for a long time, but there is Su Jinglei. Sister Su is not too old, and Sister Su has always been very powerful. Tonight was a difficult time for Lin Feng. The 30-year-old graduate student was coming. According to Shang Yuna's description at the time, Sun Yueling was average in appearance, not tall, and a bit fat. It's hard to figure out what she looks like. Maybe she's a genius, maybe she looks like a dinosaur traveling through time and space. Lin Feng's cell phone rang, and it was the same number. Lin Feng picked it up. "It's you." "It's me, are you back?" "Came back." "Okay, I'll go find you." "Fine." It seemed that Shang Yuna had already told the address clearly, so he didn't need to be verbose. After more than half an hour, Lin Feng met the female graduate student outside the community. He breathed a sigh of relief. It wasn't as bad as he imagined. His appearance was indeed average. His round face was nothing special, not beautiful but definitely not ugly, not tall, just about 160, big breasts, legs definitely it won't grow anywhere but the denim skirt shows the figure very well. She seemed to be a plump and well-mannered woman. She was somewhat reserved when facing Lin Feng. She was not as enthusiastic as when she was on the phone when she really met. "My name is Sun Yueling. Sun is the grandson of my grandson. Yu is the joy of joy, and Ling is a clever spirit." Lin Feng began to wonder why Sun Yueling didn't say that she was Sun Wukong's grandson or Sun Wu's grandson, and why did he say that she was grandson's grandson, because of humility or because he was afraid that he would not understand. Lin Feng took Sun Yueling to his partition room, and Sun Yueling's brows immediately wrinkled. "It smells of smoke, open the window." "I'll open the window now." Lin Feng didn't think Sun Yueling was picky. His room smelled very cigarette smoke. People with little smokers would not feel uncomfortable if they stayed in his room for 3 days without smoking a cigarette. Just smelling it was enough. Lin Feng opened the window, and the breeze blew in, and the smell of smoke was quickly reduced a lot. However, the beautiful landlord said once 2 months ago that Lin Feng had smoked her walls yellow. "Paint the walls." After they all sat down, the atmosphere became a little embarrassing. I couldn't find a suitable topic for a while. Sun Yueling's restraint turned into shyness, and her face was a little red. Fortunately, Shang Yuna gave her advice in advance and met Lin Feng. "If the atmosphere is awkward, then you offer to read his novels, and he will be refreshed in an instant." "Lin Feng, open the website of your novel and let me take a look." "Okay." Lin Feng welcomes any reader, including graduate female teachers. "No matter whether your face is beautiful or not, it is good to be my reader. No matter whether your things are big or not, it is good to be my reader. No matter whether your fungus is very black or not, as long as you are my readers, even if you have gynecological diseases, I welcome you to read my novels."